Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Bourbon Over Baseball with your host Bob, and we have co-hosts Jeff and Matt tonight. Three of the main guys, minus Peter, that are in this league, and we like to do our post-draft recap. I got a couple crazy kids, hopefully helping me with this as well, and we are coming to you pre-recorded during the 2020 coronavirus pandemic.
What else do we have to do right now,
Yeah.
right?
So we can't meet in person to play Showdown right at this exact moment, but we can talk about it and maybe play, obviously online or something later. But we can talk about the draft that just happened a couple days ago, and I don't think anybody right now has changed their team, though I know Kevin has talked about when the free agency is open, which it already is. But for the most part, this should be pretty straightforward for what the draft actually happened. The the league is an 18 player roster, which is the 8 position players plus a DH, 4 starting pitchers, 4 relievers, and 1 closer. You have to have a minimum of 1 closer. You can have more than one, but at least one. That's probably going to change next year because now that closers and relievers are actually correctly salaried. We also have mistake pitches in this league. We just going to have our first league with errors, which we're going to try out with if on a double play attempt the roll plus the infield doesn't get a 10 or higher, that is an error and the guy can advance to second. And then we're still trying to figure out how the outfield one works. But basically, if you don't roll a 5 with the dice roll plus the outfield, there is an error on the throw. So we're just trying to figure out exactly when that comes into play. But it is happening this year. But the draft did happen, so it's a 5,000 point salary cap league and 12 teams. These are all returning players, which last year Dom won, surprisingly, with a terrible grade that we gave him. So we'll see how we grade everyone this year.
Let's give him a D again.
Yeah, I feel like for sure. I don't know if anyone got. I forgot. I think the lowest was a C minus. I think that was his.
No, I think AJ was lower than.
Oh, AJ was the lowest, and he came in, I think, 3rd in his division.
Right, and I think he learned a lot. AJ learned a lot from the last season.
Yeah, I thought AJ's team was decent this year, and we'll get into talking about it. Interesting, a couple people changed their draft strategies. I know I did, for sure, when we're pitching, as we'll see. But I think ultimately last year I thought there was definitely highs and lows, and I feel like because everyone played again, all the teams seem very even keel, just at first glance. So we'll break it down a little more now and get into the nitty gritty of it. But everyone is returning. Everyone's in the same divisions, but the schedule has changed. But they are still going to do six series, so 18-game league. Any other first impressions on the draft before we start breaking down the picks?
No, I mean I think that I was runner up last season, the Thanos Snappers. So I snapped into second. Nah, it doesn't work. So I went totally different strategy. I went pitching heavy, almost entirely pitching, and it worked out. So my goal here going into this draft was basically to do the same strategy and see if it would work again. So I don't know about you, Matt.
Yeah, I mean,
Matt's was very one way.
Super pitching heavy.
Yeah.
And I'd never really done a team where I was like, all right, this is my focus. Let's see what I can do. And I figured in a year of baseball where everyone's hitting home runs and everyone's got crazy stats, like, let's see what I can do if I can snag the best pitchers.
And you literally went all 9 pitchers and then all 9 batters.
Yep.
Which was pretty funny to see. I know I usually go batter heavy, especially when pitchers get off the board so quickly. But I did want to focus on pitchers this year because of the low quality of high level pitching, and there being so much deep batting. So we'll break it down though. So Peter, who did very well last year and does well overall, and is another one of our fellow card creators. He had the first overall pick, and he was debating back and forth between Glasnow or Garrett Cole. Ultimately, he decided that Glasnow's IP was the reason it was going to hurt him, and he went with Garrett Cole, which I think he had Garrett Cole last year too. And overall, I think he'll be fine with him. He's a really, really good pitcher.
Right. I'm glad my prediction going into this was that the first 3, knowing Peter was going to go pitcher, was that the first 3 picks were all going to be pitchers.
Yeah, Matt H tends to go 6 control pitchers all the time. So I thought Garrett Cole, Glasnow, and then you were going to take Soroka.
Right. I gave Matt H credit because I essentially stole his strategy for last season.
Yes.
'Cause we did when we did like the it was just the 01 league, or just the players based on the 01 cards, or 2000 as well, maybe.
It was I think it was a mix, maybe. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
I think it was both. All he did was just go 4 crazy good pitchers, and he annihilated everybody. So I felt like once I saw that, I was like, man, I think that works, and it did work. So yeah, Cole. I'm also glad that Cole went first, just because I didn't want Cole to drop to me, and I wasn't going to pick him because he's an Astro.
Yeah,
So.
Jeff went the no Astros draft strategy. No cheaters.
But Cole, Cole's card, he's crazy.
He's the best pitcher available. Realistically, he's the best pitcher. Obviously, technically, Mike Trout is the best batter. I didn't want him because I can't stand spending so much on a card. It's hurt me in the past when I spend too much salary on one player. So I was okay with not taking him. And then when Matt H just changed his strategy up and went batters all of a sudden, it was interesting. So he went right to Mike Trout.
Right. This was, I would say, no question, the biggest surprise pick for me of anything in this draft. I was already assuming he was going to pick Soroka or pick Glasnow, and then whoever was still there at 3, I was going to be able to pick. When he picked Trout, that's like, I think he thought that his own strategy that I stole wasn't working anymore, so he just wanted to shake it up, which I get. I can't in any way justify a 690-point player, and maybe just not that card's stats. Because I think that for that, you could go get 2 very solid 350-point players who could probably hit bombs and probably produce just as much in total as him. So,
but just to say, I think if I'm not mistaken, Dom had Mike Trout last year and won, and he was 600 something points then.
Yeah.
Right.
And from being at the draft, it surprised the whole room. The whole room was like, what?
Well, I've been playing with Matt H for like 4 years now in this, or 3. How long have we been playing, Jeff?
It's been almost 2 years, I feel like.
So he's probably been a year more than you, so he's probably been playing for 3 years, and all everyone's seen is Matt H draft pitching.
Right. I couldn't believe it was what Matt's saying is. I remember just staring at him, being like, "Dude, are you for real?" Because then I was all of a sudden I wasn't prepared to actually pick one of these pitchers.
Maybe he liked Cole, and he was like, "Once Cole's gone, I'm going batting." I don't know.
Maybe he was throwing us off. So,
but yeah, so then you went with Soroka, which was probably the next best pitcher available, which I would have took. Christian Yelich, which I think is the best probably value batter there for 60 less points than Trout. You still get a great player. The only thing I hate about Yelich is the +0 fielding in left right field. Right. It really hurts. But I think he's so good. I just waiting for him to produce in Matt R's league still. But I know he's going to turn it around. Yeah, Glasnow I think is the best physical pitcher, but then his IP is so detrimental. He's IP4, so you'll see my strategy later on where I had to go, I think, reliever heavy just to overcome that 4 IP that he has. But whatever, I think he's a great pitcher. Cody Bellinger, another great pick. I was a little surprised that Kevin didn't go pitching as well there, but he went with the batter. Anthony Rendon, another solid pick. I actually, my thought was if I was going to go batting, it was going to be Trevor Story. Was my first overall pick. I think he was for 5'10". He's a 9. He's +5 shortstop with a monster chart. I think he was one of the best picks in the draft, and he obviously went to AJ's team, so he has Rendon and Trevor Story. Max Scherzer and Hyun Ryu. I thought those guys were going to go higher, but I knew they were going to go first round. Clevenger, great pick. Jacob deGrom, another group. These are all the best tier 2 pitchers. Interested in Robert obviously he went Verlander and Strasburg, so he just went 2-2, but interesting he went Strasburg there, I guess. I don't know. And not, like a Greinke or a Sonny Gray. I don't know, maybe
Sonny Gray is super good, and I got to look up Strasburg's stats, but I know Verlander is the 1920 double.
Yeah, I don't like Verlander.
And as you'll see later, he took Bieber, so he has 2 pitchers that give up 2 doubles.
Right, Strasburg's a solid, just 5 control, 15 out guy, but I just felt like you could have took like Sony Gray there and got a 17 out 4 control guy. Is a whole tier above him,
Or
but maybe he
Greinke
just
even.
doesn't like the 4s. I don't know.
I
Either
think
Greinke
way,
was a 5 when I took him.
yeah,
right.
yeah. I don't.
No,
I don't know.
unless he just was trying to save points. But I'm with you. I think like Greinke, like if you would have been available, him or Sonny Gray would have gotten to me for my second round pick. Like I was basically going to pick the best pitcher available, and I'm not even sure if it got to me in the second round, I would have picked Verlander or Strasburg. Definitely not Verlander.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say your non-Astro strategy.
Well,
So
that for sure.
yeah, so obviously Matt continuing with pitching went Greinke, which again has 2 solid pitchers, tier 2 pitchers. Nolan Arenado, he's okay. He's average. I don't think he's a second round pick. Sony Gray, great card. Again, Alex Bregman is a monster of a card. It does cost 610 points. I believe he's playing shortstop for Dom's team.
He also cheats, so just a heads up.
Yeah. Again, Trevor Story, I think, was an incredible pick again for AJ. That was who I was eyeing up for my pick. If it got to me, was Trevor Story. I was like, I can't believe Trevor Story's still available. Ketel Marte, again, so good. Fernando Tatis, the only thing I don't like about him is the +0 shortstop, which is really rough because you'll notice on my team, I think later, I'm actually hurting in the infield, and with a position that can go to +5 to not have any really, really hurts anything.
Right.
So
we saw like second base last year for the 2018 set was pretty brutal. It was, tell me if I'm right here, it was less brutal this year. Like there was some.
I thought there was a lot of +4s and that you could snag for second base.
Right. It wasn't as bad. So like, but we've always historically, I'd say even since the 2000 cards, right, the origination of this game, we've seen the shortstop be something that can go up to like +6. Like you can get a ton of you have to get defense there in some way. So, and I noticed when I was putting together the teams and the defense that the infield there is not the best, but it's also not horrible. And I think with the new error rule that it's still not going to happen very often. So.
No, it's supposed to be sort of very rare and oh my god, I can't believe that happened type of thing.
Right.
But whatever. I'm obviously weighing Fernando Tatis's power and chart over that. Clayton Kershaw, great pick. Charlie Morton, another great pick. These are leading off the other pitchers, which pitchers are going so fast. Sander Bogart's a solid. Again, here's Matt H going all batting all of a sudden. When he grabs Aaron Judge in the third round. But then Benintendi and Flaherty. Peter was just grabbing his other pitcher, and then he wanted to grab Benintendi because of the error +4 card for only 300 points. I think was good for him. So.
Right. I think that one thing I want to note, and I think Bob, you or Matt, maybe you said this while we were drafting. If you look at the first round, I think there's 8 pitchers, maybe 9. Actually, now that
3, 4,
no, it's 9.
5,
it's 9
6,
pitchers,
7,
or no, 8 pitchers.
8 in the first round,
which is crazy. Like it's that, and then if you go to the second round, then it pretty much flips back to mostly batters, just because I think that at that point, like the great pitchers were gone.
Well, there's 13 total in 24 picks. If you say Jake Flaherty flips with Benintendi, then it's 14. But either way, you're talking about over half. And I think people were trying to go pitcher batter if they could. I know a lot of people went pitcher, or I went pitcher batter. But it's gonna be interesting to see how that turns out.
Right, and I think that there was just like I know from my strategy, like and Matt, I think you were kind of doing the same thing. There was a definite limited amount of great pitchers. Yeah. I would say above good, and great pitchers.
We're used to seeing at least tier 0 or a couple tier 1s.
I was looking,
it's rough this
through
year.
the draft thing, and in the 2019 set, there's 11 starters that are a tier 2, and then there's 1 tier 1.
Yeah.
So there's 12. But one of them's that Verlander that gives up 2 doubles. So basically, only each team could only get 1 if it averaged out. So I was like, I'm going to grab as many as I can.
Which you
and I got 3 tier 2s.
3 tier 2s, yeah, that's impressive.
And 3 tier 1 relievers.
Yeah, wow.
Right, and plus, if you look at how many good batters, there's so many good batters in the set. Like there's just there's no chance you could be at the very tail end and still, if you just pick who's left, they're still not bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like. That was that was kind of like I was trying to fight myself that, and I still like you'll look later, but I went like I did Acuna in the 5th round, but after I went 4 straight starting pitchers, and yeah, my whole thing was like I just need I wish I would have waited more on batters actually,
Yeah.
but
I think if it wasn't a salary cap league, you may have seen certain batters going earlier, but with the salary cap, like guys will fall because people don't have the money to spend too.
Yeah, I mean, I
Like
I
if it,
bought I got 2 guys in the last like 2
makes it
rounds,
even
500
more.
points.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
right.
yeah, I took Lindor in the second to last round.
Yeah. Was there any surprises to anybody in the draft besides the like Mike Trout going super early, or any things that people like did not like? I'll start this conversation with I thought some funny things were Nick A drafting 4 Jose's all in the infield, which I
Yeah.
thought was amazing. So he's like, my whole infield's named Jose, which I thought was hilarious. I thought Kevin and me like flip flopping points back and forth was kind of funny, almost drafting the same type of strategy, though our teams are very different.
Right.
Matt flipping his strategy was kind of cool. I thought Matt R doing 9 and 9 was funny. I was really.
And then the first batter I took was a 10-point catcher.
That
Hey.
is funny.
+7 arm, man.
I thought the one guy I was disappointed that I didn't get was Adam Frazier. I really wanted him, and Dusty got him in the 9th round. I probably should have reached for him earlier, but I was super nervous to grab him too early. I really think he is in tremendous value with a +4 second base, 310 points, and he has got a crazy good chart. It's interesting to see about Javier Baez going back to Kevin, which had a terrible season last year. So
Yeah,
we'll see how that turns out.
And the pick I messed up on, and he was on my radar, and he got picked in the 17th round, and I still didn't grab him, was Malik Smith.
I thought he was great too.
That card for 110 is incredible.
Yeah, because Kevin got him. Yeah,
right. Kevin got him in the 17th, but the only other thing, and I know we went through the first round really quick, so I'm jump back there for a sec, but I'm with you that Christian Yelich for 630 in comparison to Trout, and given how monster his chart is good, it's a good pick. But I think if you're spending anywhere above 600, like you got to be getting multiple things, right? So like Trout last year was 610, right? Like
I don't know
something
off the top of my head.
620, but it was right there.
I was right around there. So like I'd maybe 620 or 600, but I know he was a 600-point player, and he had +2 center field, right? He had an 11 on base, like he had a crazy walk chart, but he was in 1 to 2 out. Like there were so many different angles working for him.
So this year he went down in fielding, but he went up in power. He stayed in 11. He's still in 11, but he has 1 more home run range on him. So that's sort of like why his points jumped up so high, because he's an 11 who I think is like a 17 through 20 home run.
17,
It's like really ridiculous. But I Yelich with a +0. I mean, like I don't know. I like Bellinger a lot for 550.
Me too.
Like
100% agree.
For what's that, 80 less points? That's a huge chunk of change.
And you can put him almost anywhere on your
Yes.
team. Like he's got 3 spots plus a DH. You can put him in 4 positions.
I mean, technically, that's why I like Joey Gallo at 480. I'm talking about now even less than that. And there's 150 points less than Christian Yelich. I'm getting a ton of power out of him. But Yelich is very good. He's a 10. He's good.
Yelich is the 2001 Bonds with worse fielding.
Yes.
Yep.
And he's gonna perform. I just don't know. Did you spend too much? Like, if you look at Yelich's stats at the end of the year, he's gonna be really good. But if your team didn't win, and you could have spent 80 less points and put that 80 into somewhere else, was that worth it?
Another Jose
Right.
somewhere.
Yeah,
That's the
different Jose. Could have got Jose Barros.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's very unusual for teams in our league to have not a great outfield. Like I just noticed for last season and definitely this season, given that there's a lot of +3s in the outfield, everybody's just stocking up on outfield defense. And I feel like it's just tough to be able to survive in a lot of ways without having that. And let's just say, Albertone doesn't use him, or Nick A doesn't use him as in the field, like, and he's just a DH. Like
He is.
Yeah, he is. He is
He's
fielding
the
him.
DH.
No, he's fielding
So
him.
Chris Davis is his DH.
Yeah, Chris.
Right,
Chris
that's
with a
like-
K. Davis is his DH.
That's just so tough off the bat to say, you know what, I'm okay, I'm going to do a +0 because then like you've got
He still has a +5 outfield though.
right.
Well, and the,
Springer, Betts, and Yelich. That's a nice outfield.
I would say that's the thing. I don't think anybody has below a 5 outfield.
oh, I think I do.
You might have a 4, but that's the thing is that 4 is the worst. Like whenever we do, like I know when we play 2000 and 2001.
No, maybe I do have a 5. No, I have a 5 because I had
Right.
Billy Hamilton.
Yeah,
Like
you have a 5.
2000, 2001, like it's really tough to put together like I would say an outfield above 4 just because there's not a ton of +2s. I don't know if there's any +3s in those sets, right?
In
Like
center there is.
in which one?
Like in center field.
Right, okay.
And there's
But
actually a
it's tough,
+4 in center field, Harrison Bader, that you got.
well, that was and that's
and there
why
is a left field, right field +4 with Andrew Benintendi.
Yeah, right. But you know, like I think it's more possible to put together a crazy good defensive outfield now, and that so many of our people do it.
Well,
so,
actually, and Dusty's was I think a +6 or +7, and it was actually hard because I kept thinking, like Jock Peterson's +2 left right field. I was like, okay, good, but he's his first baseman. He's got Harold Ramirez playing center, and then he's got Hunter Renfroe and Peralta playing left right, and then Charlie Blackman, who's got the -1, actually is his DH. He actually placed that really well.
it's a great DH.
Yeah, it's very good. So that was basically the overall draft. Actually, I think another funny thing was every time that Kevin, I hate drafting next to Kevin. It was coming back down to me into the 4th round. Luke Weaver, is who I wanted. He drafts Luke Weaver right before I pick Walker Buehler because of that. I wanted Luke Weaver, and then it comes back again in the 8th round. I was looking at Yanni Chirinos. He drafts him right before me, so I had to go Luis Castillo. So I hope that doesn't hurt me that the 2 guys I technically wanted in those rounds went to Kevin. So we'll see if that hurts me or not.
Right.
All right, so let's go down now. Let's break it down to the team players. Peter drafted first. So what do we have here? He's got 7 outfield, 7 catching arm, infield 8, no 10s. He's got a couple 9s here. Let's see. So what is he gonna go? He's probably gonna go Kevin Biggio leading off.
I would probably go Biggio, Donaldson, Correa.
I assume he has to.
He might lead off Buxton, or he's going to hit him 9th, one or the other.
Yeah,
I think he hits Buxton 9th.
Agreed.
My week, he's hitting Nick Senzel lead off, who's also a 7.
Oh, so maybe he will. I don't know how strong he is with everything else. But like he's definitely gonna have probably Vogelback. He's definitely got besides Benintendi, he's got a pretty powerful home run range of a team.
A lot of power.
But I assume he's gonna have Vogelback doing cleanup. I mean, that Richie Martin was the pick I picked from. That's literally because I had 40 points left and I couldn't find a single player that was worth 10 points that was like or under 40 that was worth anything. At least this guy was a +21 speed. So maybe he probably puts Buxton leading off and then Richie, Ricky Martin. I'll call him Ricky Martin here, batting last. I assume that's what he has to do.
Yeah, and then if you hit Biggio second, on the second way through, you have 3 straight 20s.
Yeah,
which is deadly in your league with the bonuses going
right.
places.
Especially if you're coming into a lineup all of a sudden like Correa and Josh Donaldson, Donaldson then Correa. I assume, and I know he was really big on Drury, but what's hurting him here is a little bit is the 2 5s and the 2 7s. That's gonna be a little rough, but his pitching overall is really strong.
Yeah, he's got his pitching like. Yeah, he knew the right value picks, and I'm jealous of him, honestly. Like that John Means pick and the Chris Bassett pick, are both just great. Like that John Means pick for 380.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's just a solid pick. So, and then that's the thing is that like those guys. I mean, like I would say the average now is about 5 innings pitched, and then he goes into his bullpen, and he's got 4 definite studs with one. His backup is still pretty good. Like his 5th starter or 5th reliever is still okay.
Yeah, he's a 3 control guy. So he's gonna be he's gonna hope to control the game down the low runs and just get something lucky going on in the bases. But it's not.
Mistake.
Yeah, it's not an overpowering offense.
No, he's just waiting for one mistake pitch to Biggio, to Correa, to Donaldson, and then just get a home run, hopefully a few runs, and that's it. I mean, his games can't be high scoring. If runs are scored against him, if he rolls bad, then I just don't think he's going to win any of those games.
Yeah, his like having Cole and Flaherty and John Means. I mean, I know he's gonna if I play. I don't. I assume I play him at some point. He's gonna crush me because my fourth starter is a 10-point starter, and his is a 4 through 15 out, like a good starter.
Right,
so he's probably gonna win a lot of game 4s, which is great, and a lot of game 1s. So, that's really good.
Oh. Yeah, I like his strategy like that because I mean you'll see that with mine too. It's the same way. Just build the pitching and hope for the high rolls with your crappy batters.
Right.
Yeah, and he's got a lot of power. Like you said, just the back half is going to be like a 5, it's gonna be a 7-5-5, and that's going to be really rough.
Just wait till we get to my team.
Okay. Well, should we grade Peters right now? Yes, honey. What do you want? I'm holding your brother right now. Okay.
What do they think about his pitching?
They can't hear what you guys are saying, so I don't think they know or understand. But what are you guys thinking here? I want to rate him very high. I'm a little nervous with the batting right now, but I feel like we can always change it here in a little bit if we want to.
Right. I feel like our first ones were always were off last year, so I'm sure we'll come back in some capacity and be like, are we way off? But I feel like Peter at a solid B feels right.
I would say it's above average.
I was going to say B plus, I think he's going to be one of the better teams. I don't know yet. I haven't dug deep in everyone's teams.
I think his pitching is going to dominate. It's just and I think if it's the question of whether his hitting will show up, eventually they will. So I would go B plus on this.
All right, so let's leave that as a B plus. And we'll see how the rest of this shakes out. So we got Matt H, who's in my division, plus 10 catcher, solid infield, solid outfield. So no errors for this guy. Big Xander Bogaerts, obviously he spent a ton on Mike Trout, so he's got an 11, 10, and 10. Well, that's pretty impressive. And then it just drops.
Yeah, big drop.
And then it goes all 7s and then a 6. Okay.
Those 7s, we aren't talking like 7s that can do damage. Like I would say outside of Real Muto, right? Like that's the only 7.
Jimmer can do Jason Kipnis and Jimmer are okay, but I mean Lewis or whatever his name is, he's not good at. I mean that's a worthless sort of guy.
Bob, you know what this reminds me of?
What
is my team in this league last year?
Ooh,
because I went
okay?
I went Jose, Judge, and JD Martinez. So I had the 3 10s to start, and it was like all 6s and 7s after that.
Okay?
Right. But I had the strong bullpen, and I was fighting at 500 the whole season.
He doesn't. But that's the thing is that like he's spending like 1,700, 1,800 points almost on 3 batters. His pitching, I would actually give him to him, is pretty solid.
But it's not it's not as good as Peters.
No, it's not. I like the Woodruff pick a lot. And I also like Homer Bailey, but he only has, I would say, 2. He has 3 solid relievers, but I don't know if those are relievers that if they start getting knocked, like
they're not solid. They're good. They're okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
I think like when you match them up with Peter, if they face each other, I think Peter having a 6 starter with Cole is the advantage against a team that he has 3 10s or
even his 4th starter being a 4. I mean, he's gonna beat half of his lineup.
I think Peter would get a lot more charts to hit off of.
Yeah,
right. Like that type of comparison. But it's still a 5,000 point solid built team. It's just how many charts will his big hitters get, I think, is probably the big determining factor.
But he if they don't, I mean, if you get through that, so like you're facing them 3 times a game. If you could just get through it, you should be fine. I mean, because I assume he's gonna go. Obviously, Trout probably leading off with, Bogarts and then Judge to follow, and then I'm guessing JT. Why not batting cleanup?
Yeah. And that's it, man.
I'm not really afraid after that.
Like I almost wish he would have, if he was already going Trout.
Yeah, go batter heavy.
Just go for it, man. Like, you know, like,
That's what
it's
we'll
like
see in Dom's team,
kind
I
of
think.
like this kind of halvesy strategy, and like, you know what, I'm going to get rid of I'm not criticizing. I'm just like kind of looking at it like if I'm going to kind of get away from my whole pitching heavy thing, then I would have just done that entirely. I would have had the first 6 batters just be at least 6 batters be terrifying, right? That nobody wants to face, right?
So he's a very balanced team overall. Like it's just average. But I like you said with against Peter head to head, I think Peter's like taking almost all 3. I don't see how he's beating him in any game.
Yeah, I'm sure it could bounce back and forth. It all depends on the rolls as
yeah,
dice
it's all the dice gods.
Like looking statistically at it, I'm like Peter's probably going to get more charts, like especially when Cole pitches,
which is great for Peter because that's what his team needs.
Exactly.
Right.
So I'm thinking B- C+ over here. I don't think this one is as good as I thought.
I was thinking C+.
Yeah, B-, C+.
B-? All right.
That was just my take, but you know, I'm only comparing it to one team right now.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I would say I go back. If you're writing them down, Jeff, we can go back and then we can start editing. Yeah,
I got it.
I'm leaving. I'm learning as I'm going. Now I could really give this next person a shitty grade.
Here we go. All right. Well, so I'll kind of quickly go through.
Do not like tempt us with your strategy.
No, I'm not going to go. But like, I wanted pitching. That was my big thing. So I was happy with Soroka. Really happy with Morton. Also really happy with Corbin. I will fully 100% admit that I misread Paddock's stats. I thought he was 16 to 19 walk in 20 double, and I was like, oh, this is great, 6 control for 450. But then I realized later that he has the 15 walk, and I feel weird about pitchers that give up a 15 to get on base. So that one
only 10 less points than Corbin.
Yeah, I mean it's and I look at that's where I looked at who Matt picked. Matt H picked Woodruff. I should have picked the Woodruff pick. Basically, it's like I just kind of messed up there. But he's my 6th starter. I can always adjust. Or he's my 4th starter. And having a 4th starter that's an on base or a control 6 is pretty good.
Well,
so
I will say though that the I don't know, it was last year. Didn't Matt H have the guy from the Rockies, Kyle Freeland? And I thought he pitched decent. They had a couple games where he blew up, but he did a pretty decent job throughout the season. Yeah. I think you're going to be pretty impressed with a 6 control 1 through 14 out guy. Like I said, I don't like him. I don't want him, but like he's not going to probably disappoint you.
No, I'm probably going to just stick with it at this point. I was really thinking about downgrading him. So we did,
we'll see after your first, or I guess your second series when he blows up, you're like trading him in.
Oh, well, right. And so Matt here and Kevin stuck around. On when we did the draft and did a couple of test through games. So I got to play 2 games with Paddock. And when I played against Matt, like I lost 3-2, not too bad. Like, and that I kind of wanted to test him out. And he didn't even really get up any runs on his chart. It was really just like a home run, I think, but
it was a mistake pitch 3-run homer.
Right. So like I can't do anything against. So when I played Kevin, I annihilated him. So, so I feel like I kind of tested that out a bit and said, okay, maybe he's not so bad. So anyway, and I know I'm talking too much, but my relief pitching, I wanted to make sure I had at least 2 good,
which I don't like.
It's not good, but I have enough there that I can back myself up because I know looking into last season in which runner up in the World Series, not too bad. I had 1 good guy and the rest were garbage. So the fact that I can have 2, I would say above average guys backing up that starting pitching, I feel strongly about. Like the hope is that those guys are beating the teams by a bunch. I can throw in Jeffress, or throw in Bettis and be fine. So, and then batting, at that point I wanted very strong outfield. I got an 8 outfield, which I feel great about. And then I was focusing more on trying to get 8s that could do damage. So I got Whit Merrifield, Corey Seager, and Justin Smoke, who are all solid, very, very solid 8s.
Whit Merrifield's a boss.
He's the man. And I had my lineup was I picked Carlos Santana as like basically one of my last picks because I just had the points to do it. I really wanted a 10. So I have him batting first. I have Acuna second, and then I did Merrifield, Seager, and Smoke. And those 3 guys were just the best in our play test. Like Seager was doing a ton of damage. He has an incredible chart. So there's still a little bit there that doesn't feel like it's super clicking. Not as much as my team last year, but I'm not seeing any like massive red flags yet. So
All
I'm
right,
probably
let's beat this team up. No. What I do, the best thing about your team that I like is you have no sixes, no fives, for on base. So that's fantastic. As we just saw with the team we just looked at, like if your lowest guys are sevens, that's great, and you have 4 of them, which is a little rough, but I think that's, like you said, power eights, and having that 10 in there, I think is going to be very, very helpful. What I do not like is that I think you need one more reliever. In my league, I've noticed the games where you're sort of trying to keep it close, you end up using a reliever, and then the next game you use one of those relievers plus another reliever, and then the third game you can go back to that first reliever that is not tired anymore. So
Right.
I feel like you might get into scenarios where you use Clippard and Carlos, and then the next game you might use him again, and then you're hoping that Corbin's going deep or something. You know what I mean? Like really gonna put it together for you, because
Right.
what your fear is that Patrick Corbin's pitching a great game, and now it's the 7th inning. Or sorry, what's nice is he does pitch 6, which is great. But so like it's the 8th inning now. He's down to a 2 control. Martinez and Paddock or Martinez and Clippard are tired. Who are you bringing in? Jeffries. You're keeping Corbin in almost a complete game at that point.
Right. And I think that's a big difference between like last year. I had a lot more. Most of the guys I think were 6. Maybe I had 1 7. I'm trying to remember Verlander and Nola, but I would go if they were pitching well. I went most of the game. I would say those guys were pitching 8 innings, if not complete games, a lot of the time.
So you're hoping to use one reliever per game.
Right. And this is different because
Well, Clipper could do that because he's a 6.
He could, and that's why I made a focus to get a 6. That I wanted to get one guy that if
because
it
he
got
can go 3 innings basically.
Right. If Morton was getting blown up in the 4th inning, that I could hypothetically take him out, put in Clippard, hopefully pitch okay, and then I would actually still survive the game. But I'm with you. That's definitely the weak area. Like if I were to downgrade Paddock, I would throw it into the relief staff, but I don't know if I'm going to.
What are your thoughts, Matt?
Yeah, my first thought looking at it was like, even if you're talking like you need that third reliever, you could take that Chad Bettis, turn him into a 10-point reliever, and then you got 110 to use on your third reliever.
Yeah, like to replace Jeffries, you're saying?
Yeah.
Right. Well, and it's funny because I realized I messed up my math.
Or you could drop Chris Paddock down to a different tier 4, and bump up another guy. But you might never need. I hate to, because I don't know if this is gonna affect you yet or not. Because I've done the three relievers and I didn't make the playoffs last year. So,
Right.
You did.
I think the upgrading, like originally what happened is I just had my math wrong on the sheet I was working off of. I clearly I messed up a lot, it seems like, but I picked a 20-pointer, a 40-pointer, and a 20-pointer as my last relievers, and then I realized all of a sudden I have 60 extra points, and I was like, dude. So I took away one of my 20-point relievers and got Jeffress, who's fine. I just wanted not a 1 or a 0, and I got a 2.
He doesn't give up any doubles.
Right, and now I'm with you. Now it's like if I downgrade, Bettis to a 10, I can get 110, and that's a big.
If they're available, I don't know who's still on the market. You'd have to do some research,
right.
But because what's the point of having Bettis if you're are you ever going to use him? If not, you go down to a 10 and you put the salary somewhere else.
Right,
just
like
try
what
to
is
get
that one really? Right, what is that one control making a difference for?
Yeah, and I don't know what a 110 reliever. I don't think there are any 110 relievers because I'm pretty sure the one I got for Peter that the 100 points was like one of the very minimum left.
Let me check out here. Like, yeah, I won't look too long, but
either way, what do you think, Matt? I think he is, if he's facing Peter head to head, I think Peter's pitching might have the upper hand until game 4.
Yeah.
Even actually,
I think
Peter might win.
Better,
Peter might win, or Jeff might win 3 and 4 because Jeff's batting's better.
Yeah, I think Jeff's batting's better, so I think it's probably close to the same grade.
Yeah, the only thing that sucks on and what Peter can do easily is just go right into his bullpen and just shut it down.
Right.
Agreed.
And that's where Jeff's going to have trouble with. But if Jeff scores runs, then Peter just switches over to his bullpen, shuts it down. if Peter scores runs, Jeff has to hope that those games are the games that he has, Clippard or Martinez available. So let's do the B plus as well on Jeff here. I think that they're very evenly matched. I think that Peter would win games 1 and 2, and Jeff would win games 3 and 4 if I put him head to head.
Sweet.
That's good.
Unless Peter rolled like a ton of 15s and just smoked you on game 4.
Right. Yeah. He might be like. I think it's funny. I think I got a B plus last time, maybe, or maybe a B.
Then for sure, we need to downgrade this then right away.
Right. Yeah, I would say let's bring it down. No, or put Peter up. Honestly, I feel like.
Well, I say it's so close. Like you guys are very evenly matched. I think your batting is better. His bullpen's better. What's gonna come forward first?
Right. Something's gonna break. I feel like I agree with you that he might take those 1, 2, 3 starter games.
I don't know. Anyway. 3's better. I don't know. It just depends.
Right.
All right. We'll go over into Nick A, who drafted the whole Jose team. Jose or the Jose infield at least. 8 infield and 5 outfield, 7 catcher. Obviously, I don't like Chris Davis here. I love that he has 3 10s. Christian Yelich obviously is a beast. In terms of hitting. Oh, yeah, because he's a 16 through 20. He's so much power. Mookie Betts. And George Springer's really good, too, even though, he's a cheater. He's still great, and he's got a ton of speed. Jose Ramirez is a 19. Yelich is a 20. Mookie Betts is a 20.
That's that first half of the lineup.
A lot of his players, too, don't get out easy. It's like Yelich is a 1 to 2 out. Iglesias gets 3 out. Austin Hedges is a 2 out. Davis, I'm not even looking. I shouldn't even look at Davis. His lineup's pretty stacked.
Yeah, no, that's a scary ass lineup, to be honest.
It's a good lineup, but I think I'm looking at the rotation and I'm just like, yikes.
Yeah, so Kershaw's good, and
Kershaw's good,
and then Bauer is just a 4.
2 doubles.
2 doubles, and I think that counts as the balls that he throws over the outfield fence. Those are ground rule doubles.
Only when you pull it.
Yeah.
So.
And then a 2 control, which if you're rolling hot, I guess. But then another 2 control that gives up a homer.
Yeah, the CC one's really bad, especially a 4 IP that gives up a home run.
That's a guard.
240 on Malone out of the bullpen, who also has 2 doubles and a homer.
Huh.
Oh my gosh. Woof.
So the Malone guy's weird because that's his long relief. So I assume he's going to him
for CC, right?
Yeah, I assume he thinks CC's pitching like a game or 1 inning. But you're not upgrading to a. I don't know. If they roll a 20, it happens. But it could. CC could pitch 1 inning and he goes right into Tommy Malone.
Right. It was Malone need an 18er up.
It's worse. I just want to say these stats out loud. So I'm seeing this card. I've never seen these guy's stats. He is a control 5. IP 5, so that's worth something. That's where the points are. 15 to 17 walk. 18
double is rough.
20 home run. Absolutely not. 3 rolls on your own chart can get double or worse.
Yeah,
and another 3 just get you on first.
And since he's coming in relief, every run is basically it's 1 IP down. So he's going. He could come into a game and really quickly go down.
Right. I would just be curious to know.
Because the rest of his bullpen's good.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, the other 4 are very good.
What's the usage for Malone here?
I has to be for CC, right? I don't understand.
I'm assuming like CC and Lester. I would assume he'd use them for both.
Or never. And the problem with never is why just spend 240.
Right. I'd rather have 240 and really upgrade a starter somewhere.
Unless he just didn't see the doubles and he was just like, okay, he's a 5 that's 5 innings, he gives a home run. But when you think about it, giving up 15% of the rolls, and it technically, 25% are getting on base. So
I'm with you, dude. I'm with you, man. Drop him to a 10, and then go put those points in the CC spot.
And just use a reliever game on CC's or whatever. Yeah, CC goes upgrade or upgrade John Lester, and say the CC game I'm gonna
400-point stud.
Yeah, and then on CC's game you go. You use 3 relievers that game, and you just know that you're going to do that.
Yeah,
right.
That's rough.
So the bullpen is very rough. The back end of his starting is rough. His lineup is very strong.
He has 4 tier 3 relievers, which is good, but I feel like that kind of negates the need of having a 5 IP reliever too.
Yeah,
So
that
I
seems like
don't
a
know.
very big waste of a spot.
I wish you could explain it because that'd probably help us understand. Because like I love the Yelich Bet Springer. That's fantastic.
Let's call him up. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
If we were on
Yeah,
Discord, we probably could have. He's probably gaming right now.
right. He's probably there. Actually. Yeah, you're totally right.
But the lineup is really strong. I don't like obviously the 6 and the 5. I feel like the same thing here. If he goes down to a 10, let's say he's like I really like strong lineup. We'll go down to a 10-point reliever and then boost up
Yeah.
Chris Davis.
And get somebody else named Jose.
Yeah, because
Right.
obviously Austin Hedges is a punt to get catcher arm. So
Yeah.
whatever, he's
Great.
your ninth batter, but maybe you can get Chris Davis up to an 8, on 8 on base guy. Then his lineup is really good.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't care about the other people, but having a 6, I mean, again, I say this, but Dom's 6 is fucking crushed it last year. And this guy's got a 15 home run.
Yeah, this is an upgraded Ryan Braun.
Yeah.
Dude.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm guessing that I'm gonna give this one a C plus.
Yeah, this is my lowest team for sure.
Yeah, C plus right now. This is the lowest I'm seeing. I don't even think he'd beat up Matt's team, though Matt's team weaker offensively is deeper. I think in the bullpen.
But
Let's
Trout's getting a lot of charts in this series.
Exactly. Like if I comparative against Matt's team where he had Bogarts, Judge,
Trout.
in Trout, like dude, if he's playing Lester and CC and Malone, oh my dude, it's gonna be a bloodbath. Like even like with Bauer being the 1920 double, it's just like holy smokes. Like
I'm interested to see if he did keep this team like say the whole year. How many times Malone actually comes in, and then you realize, did you spend $240 for nothing?
I think this is the most interesting team so far, just in how I'm curious to know how he what he does with them strategically and how they perform.
Yeah, Tommy would be an interesting starter for $240. Like at least then I know that when I'm getting rocked, it's not crushing my IP.
I mean, did Yu Darvish get drafted in this?
No, not that I saw.
So like that, he could have just picked Yu Darvish then instead of CC, and then
because he's the starter that does the same thing. He's got the 14 with the home run. Yeah, he's the 1 through 14 with the home run. All right, let's go on then to my team. Okay, you guys can talk about this, and I won't say anything.
You want to start or me?
How awful is this team?
You got to describe what you're going for at least. Right?
So my idea was to go better pitching than I'm used to because I'm used to not doing pitching. I'm used to going heavy batting. So I said I'm going to go really strong pitching. I'm going to punt game 4 because who cares? Because if I win 3 out of 4, that makes the playoffs. And then I'm going to pick up 3 to 4 really good relievers to do what I was saying. You pitch 2 relievers in one game. So you pitch 1-2 game 1, 2-3 game 2, 3-1 game 3. If you keep that going, you never have to use your other 2 relievers. And then if you're in the game, hypothetically game 4, you could use them then too because your relievers are always there. And then just be the best I could available. Like I said, I wanted not Walker Buehler. I wanted Luke Weaver, Luis Castillo. I wanted that other guy Yanni Chirinos, but I got the best guys available at the time. And then the idea was to get Billy Hamilton to get my center fielder locked up with speed and use the available points to max out the best lineup I could get. I don't know.
So it's so funny. So my thought process when I was
the only guy I didn't like was Jeff McNeil. Jeff McNeil was the only one I didn't like.
I was gonna go after my 9 starters. I wanted to take that Elias Diaz, then Billy Hamilton, and so like when you took Hamilton, I was like no, and so like that we're fighting over a 10.6 on base guy.
Well, I didn't even really know about him until your league, and I looked and I was like, a 10-point center fielder that gets you to the +3. I'm like, this lets me get the people I want.
Yeah, and he's good for that. And then I like your lineup a lot, just looking at it.
The only guy I don't like is Jeff McNeil because he's so slow.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Mitch Garver,
Yeah.
And
so
Tatis is okay.
Yeah, he's average.
He's okay. Garver is a little better.
So my idea was to go Juan Soto, Tatis, Garver, Marte, McNeil, and then, Marte, Yaz. McNeil, then Yaz, and then finish off with Lopez and Hamilton batting 9th to come back with my 22 speed.
But I mean, wheels.
Yeah, I got 22 speed, a 22 speed, a 23 speed. My slowest guy is Jesus Aguilar. He's batting what 7th, and I just got him because he was 130 points. That's how much I had left, and I knew he could hit the ball. And he's a 7. He was the best 7 available for 130.
He's pretty good for the 130.
I actually really like your team, and I like you have 3 tier 1s.
Yep.
That's
because so the other thing that hurts me here is I have a 4 IP with Glass now. Yeah. So once I knew I had him, I'm like, I for sure go Glass now at least 5, maybe 6 innings. And so I have to go 7, 8, 9. That's at least 2 relievers.
You could even get 7 out of them, depending on where you're at.
Yeah,
no double helps.
If I'm playing, whose team did we just talk about? Matt's team, who has or was it Matt's team that had the 3 guys and that was it? Like, if I end up getting to the second half of his lineup, I could keep him going.
Yeah. Well, and like in my league, Jeff has Glass now, and he's gone 7 both starts.
Okay, so my idea was that if Glasnow could not go deep, which he's a stud. He's a 6 control pitcher that has no doubles. And it's a 1 through 16
in
out.
In the 7th inning, he's a 3 out through 16 with no doubles.
Yeah, if
he hasn't given up 4 runs yet.
Yes,
which he probably won't.
So the idea is that I had to have relievers to do that game, Luis Castillo's game, and hypothetically Justin Sheffield's game. And if I have 3, I can do the strategy I talked about, which is the one I'm doing. So that was the idea of my team. So you guys can. The only thing I did not like was that Starling Marte is a center fielder. I wish he was like a left-right fielder because I would have loved to have slid him in there instead of getting the Juan Soto. I also did not want to spend $510 on Jeff McNeil to get a 13 speed guy that's just +2 at third base. But I'm like, okay, now my team goes 10, 9, 9, 8, 8, like 10, 8, or whatever.
At least we get to test the error rule for your team.
Yes. So I have the 6 infield because, again, Fernando Tatis is a 0. so that really hurt.
It's a 1, 2, or 3 that you'd have to roll to get an error. So it's still so minimal. But
and I'm going to let up probably every time 3 steals a game with Mitch Garver as my catcher.
And just hope that, when it's Glass now, like those guys, they should get you out of most jams. They got high strikeout ranges and not big, like, fly ball. And you don't have a high when Sheffield pitches your infield, if he's getting control, an 8 through 14 ground ball range.
I didn't think that one out. I mostly looked at guys like one of my picks that I was looking at the whole time was Starling Marte and Mike Yazinski because these guys are under 400-point players. They're 8s, which I know Jeff likes 8 power guys. These guys, if you look at Yaz's chart, is doubling at 12, and Starling Marte is technically getting on second with an 11 because of his 23 speed. He'd be a 26. I mean, crazy. So I was looking at like how many extra base hits am I getting? How many times am I getting on second? Which is like Mitch Garver, a 13, Fernando Tatis, a 12. I'm getting these guys on second base. That's what I'm looking at when I was trying to. So that's enough of me talking about it.
I would put you in that B+ range if I was.
I agree. I think that
I could almost give you an A- too, but
I
drain weight of this judgment.
I would say right now, with the Sheffield, I'm with you that like the Sheffield when you're kind of punting, but you have enough relief that if you really needed to save you'd probably be fine, especially with Bass being a 6.
So sneaky weird thing too. My 2 10-point relievers can pitch 3 innings.
Yeah,
and they're 10 points.
And
they don't give up singles. They're so weird.
Into the game that you're giving up on the Justice Sheffield game, and your offense keeps you in it in the 7th. You might be able to then throw one of those closers out there and have a shot at taking it.
Right. I'm with you. That Yaz pick is great. The Marte pick is great. I think the worst thing you have is the defense, but that's like not the biggest thing. Yeah, so I'm pretty solid A- on this.
Yeah, I don't know how Verhagen and Gausman are 10-point relievers. I don't know how that happened.
Who made the format?
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, how did this happen? Because I'm like, these guys can pitch 3 innings. And, I mean, yes, he's a 3 innings at a 0, but my team needs to eat up innings. I got to get through a game, and they don't give up singles. Yes, right. Kevin Gausman gets the 2 doubles, but Drew Verhagen is basically a walk or a double if I give the advantage, or sorry, if I get the advantage, again, he's a 0, but he pitches 3 innings for 10 points. So with those 4 guys, I only spent, and Nicky Lopez is only 20 points.
Yeah, I was eyeing him when you snagged
I spent 60 points on those guys. So that means for 5 players, I spent 60 points. That means of the 12 other guys, I got to max out as much as I could.
Yeah, I'm curious to see because like if you're winning games 1, 2, and 3, you'll be good. If you lose some of those, that's where it'll get
right.
Yeah, because he's now Justice Sheffield also 10-point person, no doubles.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, if I got a 0, as long as I get there, I'm not gonna get hurt that bad. As long as I'm not giving it the advantage. So
Yeah, good
all
luck.
right, yeah, exactly. All right, Kevin, whose team I liked, also going head to head against me because I was right next to him in the draft. We'll see how his team is here. So his team.
He had one of my favorite mistakes in the draft.
What do you mean?
Did.
He thought Yarbrough was a starter.
Yep.
When he drafted him.
Did he? I did not know that.
Yeah,
so he thought that was his 4th starter, and then he realized that was a reliever.
So is he gonna go Clay right into Yarbrough?
I'm assuming so.
We play tested this.
Yeah.
He tried the Yarbrough, so he did Clay. Clay got, if I remember, Clay actually got 0 innings pitched, gave up 3 or 4 runs.
Oh my
in the first
God.
inning. So he was starting to freak out a little bit. And that's why you do this, right? That's why you do these play tests. Threw in Yarbrough. Yarbrough actually did pretty well. I mean, he did like 3 or 4 scoreless. But then if you look at his other relievers, like he had to throw in Will Harris, and like then Kenley. Like I would say it was a stressful game. Let's put it that way. I think he convinced himself out of Yarbrough just because like.
Okay, so he had texted me that wondering if the free agent list was open. So I think Yarbrough's probably gone, and he's gonna put the
totally agree.
That's a lot of points.
He's gonna use those points to do something with Buchholz or something.
Okay.
Okay, so we're judging just his draft then, because his team's probably gonna get better. But I do like his team in general. Luke Weaver is the guy.
Masters.
Yeah, well, let's just go through the pitching. Luke Weaver is the guy I like. Chernos is the guy I like. These are 5 1 through 15 out guys, just very standard guys for cheap salary. And Pineda, this is where we're gonna get into that 15 out guy range. It's a little tough, but Luke Weaver giving him no doubles. I love it. He's got 2 really good relievers. He's probably gonna trade Yarbrough in for a good reliever and then use the extra salary to bump up somebody.
Exactly. Yep.
Obviously,
Pineda, the reason I was so frustrated with my Paddock pick after I misread it. Look at Pineda. He's the same chart essentially, but with a 5 control, and he's 120 points less.
Yeah, why not have him?
Right.
You're dropping a tier though too.
What's that?
You're dropping a tier, and that's kind of.
Well, that's the control. Yeah.
But that's all of a sudden I was talking during the draft. I was like, there's a guy that has the same chart as Paddock, and he's a 5, and he's not this much, and he knew he's Pineda. I was like, is he picked? And I was like, I already picked my 4 starters, so I kind of made my bed, and I was just like, ugh, this is the worst. I just it was just kind of it's gonna haunt me. I feel like if Paddock does poorly, or if I drop him and do some tinkering or something. But I like those. I really love those first 3 starters. I think they're all, even though Luke Weaver's 470, he's a great pick. And then
no doubles, solid.
And it's 2 and 3 spot. Pineda and Chirinos are great. I would say value starters essentially. They'll be solid for him. They'll get him through games. And if you look at his lineup, when
his first 5 batters.
So what is he going to do? He's going to go probably Kettle Marte leading off.
Yep, he went Marte, Bellinger,
Alonso.
I think he went Alonso, Brantley.
Suarez.
No. Yeah, he had to go Suarez 4.
Suarez, Brantley. Yep.
And then
you still have
Baez after that.
And Baez.
And Baez was 6th, who did nothing.
Is he hitting Malik Smith 9th, I'm assuming?
That's what I would do.
He hit Malik Smith 8th.
So he had Diaz batting 9th. See, I would have Malik Smith 9th. Just then I come back to the lineup to Kettle Marte with a 24 speed hypothetically on base.
I think no, he had Malik Smith 7th, and then he put Castro 8th. I think no, he put Diaz 9th because
so we'll see how he does that.
It's hilarious because Castro kept getting on base, kept scoring, kept hitting in runs, and we were like, "What the fuck?"
What a stud!
Right, his first 3 were doing nothing, but his last 3 were doing damage on me. I was like,
I love it.
I mean, I love Javi Baez's chart. I think like the Edward Escardo guy or whatever his name is, and Javi Baez are just amazing cards. I
Yeah.
think sevens will do damage in this league against some people late.
They didn't
But
for him.
seeing how it happened to him last year, it's gonna be rough because Javi Baez did nothing for him last year. He spent a ton of salary on him.
Right.
He spent a lot again on him this time, but
Yeah.
I love that Bellinger Marte to start, and you follow it with Alonso and Suarez.
Yeah, so you're going 10, 10, 9, 9, 9, and then
And they're
Javi
all
Baez is a 7 who's a crusher of a 7. They're all
and you still have
pretty.
Brantley to just knock people around too.
Yeah, Brantley's like the weak 9 that's on his team.
Yeah.
But I love Alonso, and Matt knows I had him in the other league. You're talking about going, you know, very, very powerful. Once you get, and Belger's a 10 to 17 home run, and then you got Alonso's a 15 home run, and then Suarez a 16 home run. A very, very powerful lineup. I think it'll be interesting to see what his team turns out to be with Ryan Yarbrough gone. But this team, I think, is a B.
I feel
Yeah.
solid. He had bad.
I think his lineup is probably one of the best I've seen.
I love his lineup.
But just that it seems like a wasted salary with Yarbrough, where he could upgrade to one more reliever. He'd have a good reliever. Would be a very good team.
Right.
But I don't know. I think he's probably B plus. He's gonna do very well.
Right. I think with some tinkering, he's a B plus, A minus, like right on that line. I know when we play tested 2 games, he had, I will admit, very bad rolls, and I was just annihilating him. So, and I think part of that is like, I played Paddock against him. You got to roll above 15s, and if you don't roll above 15s, I mean, he didn't get the advantage once, and he didn't get on base on Paddock once. So, like,
I really like his lineup. I just wonder if his pitching can handle people in our league that went crazy. Like when you have Luke Weaver, who's great, you know, a 5'15" guy, but you got people that have like a lot of guys have tier 2 and a lot of tier, like Matt's team has tier 2 pitchers. Like he's got tier 3 as his best guys. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I've seen it go, you know, in Showdown where you just got to get above a 10. You know, you just got to roll a 5 or higher almost every time, or 6 or higher every time. So
I almost feel like he could take Yarbrough and one of those other relievers, and that's if he's just looking to upgrade his bullpen. Like that's 400 points. You can get 250-point relievers, and you still have another 100 left there.
Yeah.
And like all of a sudden, he's got like a nice base that he can really back up.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what he does, because he did text me about doing that or getting the free agency, and I said it's open, so you know, go for it.
So I'm gonna write him down for B for now, just based on that. I
think he's gonna be better once he figures out what Yarbrough's doing. I bet his team, because his lineup is so good. I'd be nervous to play this team, and I have like decent pitching.
So, he'll adjust. He'll be good.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be a BB plus for sure.
So I want to pause really quick. I know we talked about this at the very beginning, and I want to keep moving. But the one rule we had in this league, was that you have to have at least one closing pitcher.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That said, you can use closing pitchers as your relief pitchers, but not the other way around.
Yes.
So I can't have a reliever finish the game.
No. Yeah.
This will change though, because it was brought in because I'm pretty sure from the 01 league when we played, because the closers were like had more points for no reason. It was like, why would you ever draft a closer?
So like, what if it's this is what gets me is like, this is curiosity, because I didn't even know that. If I have a reliever in the 8th inning, and
you're fine.
Oh yeah, you're fine. The reason is because I didn't want, when we played it, that no one would draft any closers, and they would just draft all relievers, because why would you draft a closer if the reliever is exactly the same, but the closer is worth more? Like, no, I think it happened in 00 as well. The closer give it a bump.
The game?
No.
Oh,
now you are in full control of your bullpen now.
Okay, gotcha.
I just wanted to, at the time, make sure they drafted a guy that was called a closer on their team. So it made a little bit of strategy in there. Seeing the way that we do the cards now, with them being corrected, they're all all the points for a closer reliever are exactly the same. The closer, it gets no a difference in charts. It's just the title that needs to change, and so that will change next year. But I didn't want to do it like right before the draft. I didn't tell anyone about it. I was like, okay, it's already going. We didn't talk about it.
Right, and the tough part was like, and again, Matt, I'm not throwing you under the bus because you didn't even know it. But like most of the best relievers are closing pitchers.
Yes.
And Matt grabbed 4 of them. So all of a sudden you're having to kind of check a box to fill a spot. And like I would say by probably the 7th or 8th round, there wasn't really many good closing pitchers left. So I feel like, and this is just kind of explaining it for anyone listening. Like, I feel like for us moving forward, or for your own league, it's really got to be, either you're limited to 1 closer and 4 relief pitchers, and that's it. Like we did in our 01 and 2000.
Just know that the 00 cards and the 01 cards. Look at some of the cards. There are some weird. Well, they made a lot of their errors anyway, but they like have boosted closers for like no reason, zero reason.
Right. So maybe it is just filling a spot, or
if you're using our cards, you should have no reason to not do it.
Or it's just no rules and just anybody can be anywhere.
And the Matt's league, you can have relievers pitch games. I haven't gone that far yet, but that is another option too. You can have starters come in as relievers. Matt has all sorts of rules for that. So if you guys are interested in that, hit Matt up on Twitter. The only time I would say that you need a closer from going forward now is if you're doing a blind drafts, because it is very fun to make sure you have to get that closer on your team. It's just because you got to fill that spot, and it's very fun to do that. That's the only thing. So let's break down AJ's team. I know he had a couple good picks that I liked. Trevor Story being one of them. I actually like Mark Canha, or whatever his name is. Anthony Rendon is pretty solid. But Trevor Story, man, for 5'10", you get 21 speed, 5 infield, or 5 fielding, and just a monster. 12 gets you on basically second base, and he's a 9. I mean, he is one of the best cards in the draft, in my opinion.
He's really good.
It's not even one of the 10s.
He is so good. That was going to be my first round pick if I went batting. I'm like, I'm going to jump because this guy is so good. And then I didn't have to worry about my infield, which kind of fucked me anyway.
He kind of reminds me of like Sean Green from the 2000 set.
Oh, yeah. The outfielder?
9-17 homer, speed A.
Yeah, he was solid too. I think he's a +2 left field, right fielder.
Yeah, he was stud. And like looking at this team, like I like Story. I love Story.
So he's got 4 10s.
And Canha, but like Arias, I do not like a 10 for 400 points that can't hit a homer.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And he's a speed, like he's a 12.
Yeah, so he's not even fast.
Yasmani Grandal, like you have to get a 17 to get to second.
Right.
He's also slow.
Just kills me. Yeah.
It's on base at least, but I'm with you.
I think he's looking at. I'm guessing he's looking at more of just the on base. So he's going, what? Maybe. See, I would say Story first because of his speed, but I bet Story bets second. I mean, his 10s are all slow. Yeah, so
I would probably hit Arias first because you want him on base anyway. Like if you're getting a 10 on base that can't homer, you want him on base for your guys. So
I assume he's going like. Yeah, so he's going like 10-9, 10-10-10, which is pretty solid, going into that.
And this is all nitpicky just because I don't know what I'm talking about anyways, but like if you have Grandal as a +5 catcher as your DH and you have Fegley as a +6 who's your starting catcher, like why not just play him at catcher?
So the reason he did that is because he had 500 points left with his 18th pick.
Oh, okay, so he just took Grandal.
Yeah, he's like, well, what do I do with my 500 points left? I guess I'll get Grandal.
What a luxury. I just happen to have 500 points lying around.
But here. But maybe you could do something different where you put Grandal as your catcher and drop your DH down to somebody different, and then put that point somewhere else. Though I do think his his pitching staff is okay. All tier 4s. He literally just said, "I'm just going to even keel here." I mean, they're all within 20 points.
I like him though.
I like his
release.
I like the picks.
He's one of those guys, like he's gonna have good games where where he rolls well and we don't, and there's gonna be games where it's like, wow.
Well, if he faces Kevin's team, I mean, with the 4s, Kevin's team is very, very strong. I think Kevin's team could just light him up, and even my team probably could do damage to his team.
Like
and Nick
A's team being like really good at getting on base, obviously with like Arias, Grandal, and all that. So he should have chances to score. It's will he be able to get them in?
See, I think what's interesting is it depends on who he plays. Like if he's playing Kevin above right now, who's at the tier 3s, he'll get on base here and there. But if he's playing like Jeff's team or Peter's team, like it's gonna do this. Luis gets on base, out. Next inning, Yeah, Anthony Rendon gets on base, out, out, out. Like I've seen it so many times where you got the big on base, but you can't string them together.
And there's no like guys to steal unless it's I guess Story and Margot, but like for Arias, like he's my least favorite player in the set. Just like looking at like those tens that can't like
Yeah.
if he's 400 points for a 10 on base that's not homering, I'd want like an 18 speed.
Yeah, you want something out of it. I just get nervous
Right.
about the tier 4 all pitching staff. I mean, I like Noah Syndergaard. I had him in the Idle League. I just don't like him as my number like 2, number 1, 2. But I guess they're all interchangeable.
They are entertaining. I would probably throw Bumgardner first, just so you have that high control when you go against the other team's aces.
Yeah, and that's the guy that it's a 15 on base guy. So like they're walking, right. But he's got the three. He's got 3 good relievers, so he can go quickly if he's getting trouble. He can switch over to the strategy we're talking about now. And Rollins Chapman's pretty good stud, but
he's a beast.
The 3 is a little nervous, especially if you just had like say Sandy in and you were already getting rocked because you had your 3 control guy in. I almost wish he would have like some 6s in the bullpen, because then you go, okay, I was getting rocked because I'm facing a team that has all big guys. Then I can shut them down with my high control. You're literally exchanging like low control guys for low control relievers. I mean, Trevor Gott's not, but I'm just saying in general.
But he's out through 14 too.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Okay, so that's it. So it's interesting.
It'll be interesting to see how this team plays out. Like
he's gonna get on base. He's gonna string. I mean, I was nitpicking when I said out. Against Peter's team, that's what's gonna happen. But against normal teams, he's probably gonna string a lot of hits together.
Yeah, I could see a lot. If he's having good rolling days batting, he could probably score 10 runs.
Yeah, I mean, I think his team's pretty decent, but it's not breaking the bank for me. But I think it's solid B. I mean, it's got really having 4 10s and a 9 is really good. I just would rather have Kevin's team with the with having the 2 10s and 3 9s, and those 2 of those 9s are monsters.
I think that it's a balanced team. Like I know there's a lot of front heavy hitting, but like even the parts that there's no alarming red flags going up to
I don't think he's going to get hurt unless he's got like a game where his bullpens are tired for some reason, and then his like starting pitching doesn't come through. Like you said, like Matt said, with his rolls were bad, then he'd have a really rough outing.
Yeah, because if you have to go to like those 2 cheap ones, that's rough for the bullpen.
Right, I agree on the B. I think that I think that's a good spot for him.
Yeah. All right, and obviously, like so many guys are going to get Bs because they're all 5,000 point teams.
Yeah,
so
and that's why I said everything was pretty even when I saw this.
That's why we're
so Dom's team was the one that won last year. He went Trout first last year, and he had these random 6s that just killed it. He grabbed Max Scherzer first, and then once he saw all the pitchers going, he said, "Fuck it, I'm going all batting." So I was interested to see how he ended up here with batting. So he went.
I love the mashing.
So his infield's a 4. Is this true?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So he's going to be the one that really tests out, and his outfield being a 2. So he went no defense except for Tony. So he's gonna have a rough time there. Just not even with errors. I'm just saying in general, like getting guys out and guys just going, especially outfield 2. I feel like people are just gonna be running home.
Yeah, and it's like for him to say "fuck it" on pitching, like this can get ugly.
He really said "fuck it." He said ultimate "fuck it" because
So I mean, but again, Jeff Samardzija is not bad, and Pablo Lopez is the weird again 14 guy out, but no doubles. I mean, J.Hab's garbage, but
and then like his bullpen,
the bullpen's
all give up homers.
The bullpen's not good.
For Rogers.
Yeah, it's basically Taylor Rogers are as many games as he could get him in. Like,
yeah,
I guess
like 3 innings twice a series.
I guess Taylor Rogers is not playing in Max Scherzer's games. That's his only hope. Like that is not happening. So he's gonna get. When I texted him, he wrote, "I'm gonna probably let up like 6 runs a game or 5 runs a game, but I'm gonna score 6." Like that was his joke. And let's see here. So he's probably got maybe Bregman. I don't know who he's. I think Bregman leads off because you got to have Nelson Cruz like 2 or 3. Yeah,
I'd probably go Bregman, Gallo, Cruz.
Yeah.
No.
what I would do
he's got a
too.
lot of home runs on that team, that's for sure.
Yeah, Sano's a big boy, and then Braun. He obviously went Braun because last year Braun was his hero, and Braun is you'd have Thames after that, and then Braun.
Dietrich. I mean, look at Dietrich's card.
Let me see real quick.
Yeah.
So he's a 7
He's a
though. He's a 14.
He's
I would rather
doubles
have
at
Eric.
12.
I would rather have Eric Thames and Braun hit before them being 8s.
Right. Most of his guys. I'm just going to go down the line on the good guys in terms of where they start to hit doubles. 13, 12, 15, 13, 12, 14, 11. Like what in the hell?
God.
I mean, it's exactly.
Almaro is a 5, so that's kind of he's never going to get it. But
right.
But Tony Walters is a can't hit a home run. So those guys are your back of your lineup guys. Like Tony Walters is your 8-9 hitter, and so is Alberto.
At least he's an 8 on base though for that.
It's a very strong lineup. Like his 7 is a fucking killer of a 7. Like we were talking earlier, how at least the 7 is a good. Like some people have terrible 7s. Like Dietrich is a monster.
Yeah.
So
to hit a double at 12 and homer at 14, like that's gonna be fun.
So I only wish maybe that he had maybe another 9 instead of another 8. But his team is probably stronger than Kevin's in terms of power and just sheer scariness. So if
only one fast guy.
Yeah, I guess he's assuming he's just gonna hit doubles, back-to-back doubles, because you don't have to worry about. But if he's facing AJ's team could get killed by Dom's team.
Right. I know the strategy that like mistake pitch is everything right in our league. Like rolling, if you roll a 1, it doesn't matter how good your pitching is, and it just matters of who the batter is and can they do damage. And the question for him is if there's ever a mistake pitch roll against him, it's going to do immense amounts of damage. We saw that last year. It's exactly what happened. You had a bunch of 6s and 7s who were like 14 and 15 to 20 home runs, and it was devastating. And when I rolled badly in the World Series
this year, he went to 8s to do it.
Matter what I did, right? So like, I'm like, it's like I'm having trouble getting over like the pitching part, like how bad his.
Well, it's really the bullpen, because the pitching is not super bad other than J.A. Happ. So he's almost punting game 4 like I was. Games 1 and 2, he's not doing that bad, and he's going to be scoring a ton.
If Samardzija has to come out in the 4th inning, what do you do?
I don't think he's coming out in the 4th though. I think he's probably pitching him to the 6th, and he's just like I said, he's going to hope that. Again, we've seen this before with the team that you took over of what's-his-faces, where you have one control guys that do great, because all you got to do is roll 50-50 balls and hope they don't string hits together. And you just mash. And the strategy has worked in the past. I don't know if it will. I would have rather seen one more good reliever. Just like, why have a 50, a 50, and a 20, 50, 50, 50? Like, can I get 10, 10, 10, and then get 100? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and then get a 10 starter as my 4th starter. Like, if those are 10s and 20s, can one other reliever be high end? And then,
right.
And then at least then Taylor Rogers pitches, like, say he can pitch Samardzij's game and Pablo Lopez's game, and then the other guy pitches the other games. I don't know, but I still think this team's pretty good.
100% with you. I think he needs to nuke 3 of those relievers to get one, above average reliever to be somewhat competitive. I'm just like, I'm still like so confused. I feel like I'm like going insane a little bit just because like I look at this team and I even with that home run and double stuff, and I love where they double. I just like, I don't feel confident in it, but I was super wrong. We were all super wrong last year.
I think this team's I think this team's a B+, a B+. I think this team's gonna be very good. Now, if he's facing Peter's team is going to shut him down. Like, he's not going to do anything. But if he's facing AJ's, he's going to annihilate him. He's just going to score too many runs.
Right. So it just depends on the team. And like, same thing with me. If I pitch Paddock against this team, I should in theory do okay.
Yeah, you should be fine. But like people like Matt H's team and the back end of my team is gonna get hurt. Like Justin Sheffield, I'm gonna get killed. But like Nick A's team's gonna get annihilated by his team. Kevin's team, unless he figures out. I mean, maybe Luke Weaver, but the rest of his team is gonna get lit up. AJ's team is for sure gonna get lit up. He's probably gonna win way more games than he's going to lose, and he's probably going to make the playoffs and just lose to teams like yours or Peters. The problem is Peters in his division, so, that's a tough game. And then, Matt, you did really good pitching, too, so that's another guy in his division.
Where are we at? I just got back.
So we
Oh,
just
sorry.
gave.
I think Dom's team is going to win a lot more games than he's going to lose. The
Who?
problem, Dom.
Okay, so we're same team.
Yeah, I just think that the problem with Dom's team is he's in the division with Peter, who is a really good team pitching, and you have a really good pitching team. So
Yeah.
his conference games, he might get shut down in, and then win like everything else, except for against, say Matt, or sorry, against Jeff. So I feel like he's gonna go like win 3 out of 4 games just because his batting's so strong, and that's why I feel like he's a B plus. I think he's a really strong team.
Right.
But I think B plus is the area he's in.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't think he's better than Peter. So
No, I think
we have
Peter's
Peter
team's
at
better.
3?
I think I'm bumping Peter.
I'd go B minus.
But I think Peter's team we might have to bump up. I think Peter's team's really good.
Right.
Yeah, I'm already doing that because he's an A. I think Peter's an A minus as
Yeah.
we're a different reference point now. So anyway,
And again, if Dom comes back and fixes it and maybe cuts some people down to the bare minimums and boosts one more guy now that he sees his team in full, he could jump up to a very strong B plus.
right.
Okay, let's go over to Dusty's team here. We got let's see, Hyun Ryu is amazing. Sonny Gray's good. Brad Keller, average, but no doubles.
All ground ball pitchers.
Yeah,
And
he won't ground balls again.
Okay, so 13 infield, doing really good there. I like, Charlie Blackmon doing the DH. No 10s. So he's got 9, 9, 8, 8, and then it kind of drops 7, 7, 6, 5. So that's a little rough, and then not a lot of speed either. So, again, he went all fielding. He has an 8 catcher, 6 outfield, and a 13 infield. So I assume he's just trying to put the ball on the ground. Wieters is a 5 that has power. That's whatever. Jock Peterson's a really good card. I really like Jock Peterson. Hunter Renfroe, another. He doesn't have a lot of power. I mean, they're good. I say not a lot of power. A lot of guys have 18 home run, but like
look at the double range, and he loves triple. He's a big believer in. Well, he believes that like a triple or better is just a home run essentially. So like that's why I think that like given Nick Ahmed
12,
at 7,
13, 11, 13, 13, 10, 12. So nothing is higher than a 13 double range. So that's what he's going for here. I just wish they had a little better on base. What's up?
What's that?
Like 270 points for Renfroe is that's like Gallo last year.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah, but we saw it. I think 220 was Ryan Braun, who was a 6-13 home run, and he killed it.
He did.
Crazy.
You have to be lucky to be that one though.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I think his lineup is good. I would rather have Dom's lineup, but man, if you give
pitching.
You'd rather have Dusty's pitching.
Dusty's pitching.
And he's got 3, again, or 2 for sure, great pitchers or relievers, and 1 that can at least get him to carry over a game. The back end, Adam Wainwright, I don't like being a 2, but I've seen 2s do really good, and he's a 17. No issue there.
Tough,
it's going to be tough, but it's not bad.
And I like the Rue, Gray, and Keller picks. I'm all about. It's just the Wainwright, and he's got
Wainwright
at least.
Has to get 5 innings. If Wainwright doesn't go 5, is where it'll get real dicey.
Yep.
Yeah, I wish his lineup had like less 7s, more 8s, or less 8s, more 9s.
I love that Devers chart though.
Whose chart?
Devers to get a double at 13 from a 9.
See, my boy, I like Adam Frazier. He's a +4 second base. Is the guy I wanted in the draft. He gets a double at 13, triples with 2 triples. Again, that's amazing. So that I'm basically homering at 17. Oh yeah, so 3 triples. I'm basically homering at 17 with an 8 for 310.
For 310.
He was the guy so good, and I wanted him so bad.
Right. So like that is like I feel like that is Adam Frazier is Dusty's strategy, just like his at least hitting strategy all put together, right? An infield guy that is crazy good defense, lots of value, but can also do some damage if he needs to. Like that is everything he wants, and he's essentially doing that across the board. So, I loved the Blackmon pick. I had him last year. The dude he was awesome. He was my DH. Single plus at 12. On base.
He's a 9. He's solid.
He's great. He's
Especially
great.
when you can slide a -1 fielding guy into a DH slot. Now,
right.
The problem with Dusty is he's going to be facing Peter and Matt R. He's in that division, and they have really, really good pitching, which could shut his team down and make you pitch on or make you bound on their chart. So all that for naught. If he's so in a head-to-head matchup against Dom, is Dusty beating him?
No, but I don't think I don't think he's losing by a ton.
So then Dusty's team's probably like a B. He's probably I haven't got to Matt R's team, but I feel like he's probably the weakest team in the division right now. But that being said, Peter's an A-, Dom's a B+, and Dusty's is a B.
Right.
And Dusty can
I think
easily
he
be.
feels right.
I feel like Dusty's team, if he just gets charged, he's gonna wreck people as well. I mean, even more so than Dom's team. Dom's team maybe has a better shot because he has more 10s and 8s, but Dusty's team,
rolling
just doubles back-to-back doubles are really good.
Right. Like exactly that. Rolling a 1 or 2 against Dusty is still going to be devastating in just a different way.
Yeah.
It's not going to be home run at 14, but it's going to be maybe a double or triple at 14.
Yeah. The only thing I don't like is his team's not like the fastest guy is this 18 Nick Ahmed, but like could I get some more 20s in there? It's the same thing with Dom's team. They're all powerful, but Ryan Braun's the 18. Like, can I get some 20 speeds in there? I would really like those guys fly around the bases. When you have those 20 guys, they score all the time.
Yeah, to get that 25 or 30 for advancing.
So I like it. I love that he's going to be shutting people down with his pitching, with hopefully getting ground balls and just keeping everybody off the bases. He's probably going to be a lot better than we think.
Double plays are so killer. Like when you're playing in person and you roll a double play.
Oh,
like
it's
just
devastating.
Yeah.
I just think Dusty, again, I kept the divisions the same, and I think Dusty's division is the toughest division. It's Dusty, Dom's, whose team won last year, and I think Dom did better this year with his drafting. And then Peter and Matt are.
I finished last year in that division. I was 9-8.
Yeah, it's a very strong division. You guys are very good at it.
Get better, dude.
Yeah, I
might
have to switch up the divisions, but I thought it was more fun to keep it the same, knowing that I got like Peter and everybody else. I got to really set my game up. And if it becomes like the AL East, then maybe I really got to change it up. But like right now, it seems like it's okay. So I would give Dusty a B+. I think Dom's is slightly higher. And actually, the reason I think Dom's is Dom could change his team up a little bit and become a solid B+, like a really strong B+.
Probably bump up to an A-, right?
I don't know. I think Dom is like a BB+. And so like if he switched up his relief pitching a little bit, it'd be like Dom's like there's no doubt he's a B+, whereas Dusty's like a B. Like I just feel like he's a solid B.
Right, and I don't know what he would adjust to make that different at this point.
But I think, do we give AJ a B?
We gave AJ a B.
I feel like Dusty's team's better than AJ's. So just let you know.
So maybe
I don't know.
Probably
maybe
bumping AJ
to a B- maybe. Well, no, we haven't got there yet. I'm just letting you know. I think Dusty's team is better.
We'll come back and reevaluate at the end of this.
Now, I had Dusty's strategy last year where I had tons of power, like double power, and I kind of punted a little bit on the pitching, not super bad, and then I went really heavy in my bullpen, and I finished 8-8 or 7-9. It wasn't enough to get me to the playoffs. So I think I don't know. I'm just letting you guys know what I have it to me. So we're almost done here. We got Nick S.'s team, who went the highest. No, not the highest infield. The second, tied for the highest infield.
He's the highest.
And he's did he go pitching ground ball ranges kinda?
We might have an issue.
What happened?
That's the Roberto Perez before the defensive boost.
Where is he at? So he's
330 points.
Now it is correct on my sheet, and he's good. I have my sheet, and he's a +10 catcher, 330 points, and let me see. Let me just go to his team real quick, and he's at 4,990. So he's 10 points under still. So he's good. Looking at his team, Clevenger, awesome pick. Love freaking Clevenger. Skaggs, average, and then really drops off. Perez and Novas.
Skaggs is, I would say, above average.
I like fours that have 16 out. I like a tier 3 guy. I like that 16 out. Now he's no doubles, which is great, but like
for a tier 4 though, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, I just don't want to spend 380 on a guy that like that. But
all those twos after is
the Perez and Nova are really rough. Now he's going for a big ground ball range. Yeah, so he went to this guy like this Beeks guy, which I guess he's just gonna hopefully. Again, I have the problem with when you got a guy like that, I'm going to eat up some innings with this 2 that's going to go 3 innings, or this other 2 that's going to go 2 innings. Who are you putting him in for? The other 2s? Because it's not even. It's like I'm just.
It's
facing,
a better chart for
yeah,
out of him at least.
but like if you're facing Dusty's team, he's gonna go ape shit on this lineup.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna kill this freaking team. Now let me just look at his lineup real quick. So Anthony Rizzo's a stud. Simeon and Syndergaard, they're good. Kepler I like a lot. I actually like I don't know how to pronounce his name, but Hernandez, Teoscar Hernandez for 260. He's really good. Like he has good fielding. He's a really good chart. Robles is pretty solid. Good fielding, good speed, good chart for a 7. Sogard, he's good. He's average. Again, he's got some speed. Arenado's slow. Sanchez is kind of slow. But what I like here, no 6s, no 5s. Again, a really solid team here. We got 10, 9, 9, 8s, and 7s. I mean, that's pretty good. I just don't think... I think he's going to win probably his Clevenger games, maybe, unless he's facing the other amazing tier guys.
Yeah. And I think he could lose the... I think he could lose
all 3.
Skag game.
I think he can lose the rest of them. Unless Nick Ramirez is for 170 is like, why? I'd rather have a 1 inning guy that was like a 4.
Right.
You're going to get more out of him probably.
I mean, you got to hope. The thing with having a bullpen that has a 2, a 2, a 2, a 0, and a 0 is that you better hope that your guys are going deep. And when you got Clevenger, who's a 4, so what is he, a 2 in the 8th? And so then you're bringing your 2 to close out the game. Dusty's team's going to kill this team.
I feel like this might be... So far, we had rated
both Nicks.
Nick Albertones is the worst. Not saying this is like a bad team. Again, we're all in the same range, but I seem the least
I'd
worried.
rather have Nick's team, Nick A's
I would
team.
love to play this team.
Yeah, I think this is the worst team. I think right now this is a C, or just a straight C. I think this team, a team like my team, a team like Dusty and Dom's team are going to really go off on this team because there's just not enough pitching. I think this
team would make my team better, which we haven't gotten to yet, but for my lack of hitting would be great to go up against a bunch of 2s.
Yeah.
Right.
Like his lineup is very good consistently, no 6s, no 5s. But no one's really jumping off the page, whereas Dusty's like, I got a ton of freaking great hitters. And then you didn't get strong enough bullpen or pitching to really go, okay, well at least I'm shutting them down. You're sort of just hanging in there worse than I think under the average.
Right. To give him a little credit, the double range, the double to home run range is pretty good on what he has.
I think Perez is great.
Right, but I think the problem here is there's a lot of mismatching between how the lineup will flow, right? Rizzo just kind of, and I like that. I mean, Rizzo is basically Carlos Santana, who I picked.
I think Rizzo's probably his leadoff hitter.
Rizzo has to be.
Rizzo's definitely his lead. I mean, I'm batting Santana as my leadoff. I think Rizzo is his. Do a couple 9s. It's just, I don't know and this is the problem of kind of existential crisis I'm having with my own team of how does it all fit together? And I feel like that's what's happening here too. But then I feel like at least for me, I have the backup of awesome starting pitching with some, relief pitchers I trust. There's some decent starting pitchers with relievers I do not trust here.
Well, and another thing I'm ripping on is 4th starter because he's a 2, but Dusty's is a 2, mine's a 0, and there's another 0, so he could win some game 4s. But I just don't know. Clevenger's but Clevenger's not as good as some of the other tier ones, and he's good, but maybe his lineup's not enough to break a mold. If you're playing Hughes and Rio, right, and they're the same pitcher, but then Dusty's lineup's better, so Dusty's semi winning that game. Then you're going to Skaggs, you're probably losing that game, against other people's tier 2s or SP2s, and then your 3 game, you're having a rough time against a lot of people's 3rd starters, and then maybe you're okay on your game 4 because not a lot of people spent money on their 4th pitchers. So I don't know. It's not good enough that I want to say that. I think it's probably the worst team we saw so far.
And then, that's fits my rant is the whole defense thing.
This is in Jeff's
he has a
division
plus 15
too.
Defense, and but he doesn't have the ground ball pitchers that Dusty has.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you're going to get this plus 15 infield, Marcus Semien isn't as good as Tatis, but because he's a +5 at shortstop, like he's more expensive.
Yeah.
So like you could have you could have invested that somewhere else to improve your pitching and still like I have a thought in my head on what I would do because he's already at a 15. Like Trey Turner didn't get drafted. He's a +0 shortstop for only like 330 points. So that's 150 points you could reallocate somewhere else.
Yeah. That's exactly the point. Like at some point, your infield is probably pretty good. Like
Your infield's great at 15, but
He'll be 10 with that adjustment, and that's like not even. You know what I mean?
that's what I'm saying. Like you're still you're out of the error situation,
Right.
but you're
and
also
you can
getting
improve
half.
somewhere
Yeah,
else.
you're getting half the people out. Like maybe not like a 23 speed. You're gonna have a tough time with. But even if you didn't drop to a 0, is there threes or twos?
Gleyber
or,
Torres is out there for 400. That's another 80 points to pick up.
Yeah,
Right, and-
that's what I'm saying. I think you can pick up, like you were saying. I think that's a great listen for some people also listening, or Nick himself. You know, that you could maybe pick up something to really make your team a little bit better. I don't think your games are won or lost by Marcus. So I don't know.
Right.
So I'm rating this one a C. Now we can
Same.
go and rip on this shitty ass team next.
Yeah, let's destroy mine.
You want to tell us your strategy real quick?
Okay, obviously I went all hitting, and but no. So I just wanted. I've never had a team that was like loaded pitching. So I was like, let's see how I can do it. Like let's do it in this type of league where the set, like I said earlier, the pitching isn't there that deep. So I was like, I'm just gonna take as many as I can before I start taking hitters. I was gonna take a hitter in like the 7th round, and I was like, all right, I've already taken
You're
6
pot
pitchers.
committed.
Like, let's go. Let's do it.
So let's look at these guys. Then we got DeGrom, who's awesome. Zach Greinke, another awesome guy. These are very great 1 through 16 out pitchers. These are very strong pitchers. Yep. And then you got Frankie, who's a 4.17. So these are all tier 2, very strong. 4 innings here. That's a little rough part, but no doubles. So that's okay as long as you got the great relievers to back them up, which you do here, because all your relievers are great except for Nick.
And he's still a stud if you don't roll a 20.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Fine. Like I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
like,
for 120, that's actually a really nice pickup.
That's my worst reliever right now.
Yeah. So that game where Frankie might not be able to go deep, you have so much wiggle room, and if anybody gets in trouble, you can go right to your bullpen and shut it down with these 5s and 4s.
And that's what Jeff found out when we scrimmaged.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was a close game, but we got halfway through. I don't think any of your relief staff gave up runs. We got halfway.
They didn't give up a hit.
Right.
Wow,
like,
that's pretty impressive.
We got halfway through the game, and you were, of course, there's going to be scenarios where you have to hold some, hold relief staff depending on usage and all that. But even if you just hypothetically used half of these guys,
right.
I was still fucked.
Yeah, because I did Canning his 5 innings pitched, and he gave up the 2 runs, and then I just went all the bullpen there and
that's the thing.
Game.
Basically, you can just go to their basic innings and just stop.
Yeah.
Like you're like, Jacob DeGrom's, he's let up 2 runs and it's a 7th inning. I'm going to my bullpen. You do not have to fear at all about the guy getting tired, or maybe you do pitch him and all of a sudden he gets in trouble, like lets up a double, instantly right to the bullpen.
I'll fully admit I overdid it on the bullpen because I already have a thought in mind. Like I don't need all 5 of them. I told Jeff this already.
I think you only need 4. I think 3 to 4 is the number.
I think Hector Neris is going to be looking for a new job soon.
Well, I know some other teams that probably could use some bullpen help. So
and he's fantastic for it, and I can improve one of those like shitty hitters.
Okay, so let's look at these shitty hitters. Okay, so no 10s and 1 9. Okay, this is not looking good, Matt. So Yohan Moncada, which I actually love the Yohan Moncada.
I had him hit second. I had Lindor leading off.
So Lindor's your 8, who's just got a ton of pop and speed. And then we got.
Do you remember?
What's up?
What?
Do you remember
who hit Verdugo?
Okay.
He was my 4th hitter.
Right. Like this is you're just waiting for a 1 or 2, which will happen.
Yeah.
But this double range isn't as good as the ones we've seen earlier, and the hitting has got 2 5s on it and a 6.
But his pitching is so freaking dominant.
And one of them's a 5.
One
of them's a 5 doesn't even hit a home run. Is Lewis Brinson, which I drafted in their league for a hot minute.
Yeah.
God, is he bad?
He's
a 12 speed, and he can't hit a home run.
He
so
was a 10
bad
because you took my Billy Hamilton.
so bad.
But I love Jorge Soler. I think he'll be great in this league.
Are you using your exploding one edition of him? Isn't that the
Maybe I'll have to bring it with me. I don't know if I
Yeah.
have it printed out or not.
Oh,
I'll
well,
have to
you
bring
got
it with me if I
yeah,
did.
the exploding nuke 'em one. Yeah,
But
Soler's
like,
a
and I just went on
monster.
that defensive rant on the last team. I didn't even know I had a +12 infield, so he could have done the same thing, not even known what he just drafted.
That's
And
amazing.
that's because Francis Lindor at the end you picked up.
Right, I took him in the second to
Yeah.
last round.
So yeah, Yandy Diaz, former Indian there.
Yeah,
Again, you're definitely your batting line is very very weak.
very weak.
But they'll do damage when they hit against me. That's
I
one
mean,
game.
I'm just looking at how dominant his pitching is very very dominant, and so ideally he's not going to let you score more than 2 runs, and that's what he did. But can you score more than 3? You got that 3-run bomb with Verdugo on a
Right,
or
and that was
Verdugo
my only run that game
on a mistake pitch,
So,
right?
yeah,
That's all it takes.
and so like,
I don't know.
and like I said, somebody's going to get upgraded because Neris is leaving.
Yeah. So
I haven't figured out where.
My thought on this is a BB plus. I love the pitching, and I think one is going to crush you in pitching, but I think
I would
no
give
one's
my
scoring more than.
lineup a D and my pitching at A+.
So your pitching is an A+. Even if someone hurts your pitching staff, like people are like, well, I could just beat up on DeGrom and then he's got to go to his bullpen. There's no stop. Like you're only gonna score. The only way this happens is if you roll the mistake pitch with a couple guys on base and I get a 3-run bomb. Then I'm like, that's how I score runs against your team.
And Yates can go 3 innings.
Yeah.
And be a 3. Like if he didn't give up any runs. And like Vasquez and Hendricks, I'm expecting like 2 innings. So I'm expecting those to be like my main 3. And that's where I was like, okay, if I use Whitgren as like my emergency and I can get rid of Neris.
So I assume that no one's scoring more than 5 runs against you unless random shit's happening. Most times it's going to be 2 to 3. But can you score 5 runs?
It was my goal was 3 runs. So 3 runs is where I want to be.
3 runs is what you want to. Okay, so but can you score 4 runs?
I don't know.
Because you got to win. How are you going to win the game?
Right. So that's kind of where I'm at. But and then looking at where I upgrade, like I could turn Lewis Brinson into like Kevin Kiermaier. I don't think that it's an upgrade over him, but it's not like a change the team upgrade to where I'm like, maybe I'll go somewhere else.
It's not a game changer.
Right. So I don't know if Frankie might not last very long on my team either.
He's doing awful for me in your league, so
because you gotta give him a new contract.
So what do you think?
I think solid. Like I agree with you that I think with adjustments, I think this becomes a solid, a B+, like kind of lingering, almost going over to an A-. But I think right now it's probably a B.
I think I'll say it's a B+. I don't mind saying that because I know he's going to make the change because he's already told us. Right. But my worry is I guess I got to see it. I didn't watch your game. That's one game.
And I got to see how it plays. Like I said, this is like
because I have a feeling you're not scoring a lot of runs, and I have a fear that, like, okay, so now you're facing Peter's team, and you didn't let him score more than 3 runs, but he didn't let you score more than 1 run, know, and unless you're scoring runs, you still got to score enough to win. You got to score more than them, and I have a feeling you're going to end up 500 and miss out on the playoffs.
We'll see how it plays out. That'll be the fun part is I'm going to need the dice with me.
Yes. Yeah. So I feel like this is a B+, leaning more towards the B+, because of how impressive the pitching is. Like you said, it's probably over impressive. Once you clean up a bit.
I did too much.
I think you'll be fine, but maybe not. Maybe it is going to be. I don't know. I think it's a really strong team. I really wish you had something like another 9 in there or something.
Yeah, and that's kind of my goal was to end up with 5 8s. I got 3 and a 9. Like I wasn't even gonna take a 9, but Moncada was still there.
I like Moncada a lot.
I love him. I was gonna go with a ton of 8s, but then he was still there. I mean, he has basically the same chart as Frankie, but he's a 9. And
he's a +3 third baseman. He's like he maxes out that position like Frankie does for shortstop. I think and he's got a good chart. Nothing crazy, but the 12 double. He's got the triple range. So he's basically, like you said, doing the exact same thing, but he's a 9 and he's still fast.
I like Dyson as my number 9 hitter. I will say that.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I like speed guys at the back end. I think you'll be fine. I think people are going to hate playing you because you're just going to shut them down. Like Robert, I know when he plays people and doesn't score any runs, he gets so pissed. So
my games are going to be really boring.
Oh yeah, they're going to be fast.
Yeah, they're going to be you're going to have the lowest attendance of any of our.
I'll be like the White Sox when they had like Burley and Contreras and Garland.
Not to make light of the coronavirus thing, but they were talking about like, initially not having like more than like 100 people in a place. They're like the Marlins were like, looks like we can still have our games. Like, so obviously I'm making light of the pandemic that's happening right now. So last team, we'll try to wrap this up really quickly so we can be under 2 hours here, is my cousin Robert's team, the Funko Fanatics, who got to draft 12 and then snake back. He also had a 15 infield and a 7 outfield. So let's see what he did here.
I gotta say, when he was drafting, like some of these picks I saw him coming in, and I wasn't paying as much attention to them, but some of them I was just like kind of like, huh?
Yeah.
Just but then like at Strasburg Verlander back to back kind of confused me.
Well, the Verlander just seems I just don't like Verlander being the 2 doubles.
But I'm gonna say and especially I think the back-to-back picks is key. I would always choose to be 12 in a 12-team league if I could. I think just being able to know what your second pick is going to be is awesome. But so now when I look at his team kind of holistically, I was expecting it to be kind of like, man, there's going to be a lot of mismatches. I'm not seeing some consistencies here. Now that I'm looking at, let's say, a surprisingly strong team to me. Honestly,
I was thinking Paul DeJong was kind of a waste for 300 points to get that shortstop, but he's actually got a pretty good chart for a 7. So that's pretty. Matt Chapman. I was actually looking at Matt Chapman because I really thought that was how I was going to save some fielding because of how bad Tatis was. But like another good an 8 that doubles at 13. Bryce Harper is a 9 that doubles at 14. Very strong, and he gets good. He has good fielding. Ozuna, he's average. He's good. Kane, he's just kind of whatever. Josh Bell is his DH, I think. Yeah,
I love that Josh Bell.
And
for 380.
For 380 and 9 that has a ton of power.
Not bad. He's got a ton of home run range.
I mean, even Colton Wong, who can't really hit a home run, is single plussing at 15 and is a 19 speed. So his speed is not the best on his team, but his team, and no 10s, but he's going 9-9. He's got 3 9s, 2 8s, a couple 7s. Pretty strong. I mean, above average, not like a Dom or a Dusty's team, but I think this team's got a lot of power and a lot of potential and the batting wise.
Right, and I see a lot of consistencies in terms of just how the batting lineup will be structured, right? Assuming that Wong would go first, and then probably Bryce Harper, and then Josh Bell. Like that's a pretty solid 1, 2, 3, and then that leads into Chapman and Ozuna. Like I'm not saying, of course, it's not 10, 10, 10, 9, 9, but I'm just saying.
And then fouled up by DeJong and Pools, who's a double at 12 and a double at 13, and these are a very strong team.
I'm just saying if he gets a 1, 2, or 3 roll, like he's good. I just
wish he was a little faster. Like I like having, like I said, these 22 speed guys like Jared Dyson on Matt R's team. When they get on base, I'm telling you, like singles score these freaking guys. Like singles make them go to third. They go home on almost everything from second. I mean, they move. You can steal second a lot of times against people like my catcher. I'm actually pretty excited to see all these low speed teams because my catcher's terrible.
Right. Yeah, and so back to my team, I was gonna take in the last round, how we were talking about, I took Lindor. I was gonna go Trey Turner, Josh Bell, and I'm so glad I didn't take Turner because then Robert took Bell the next pick, so I would have screwed up my whole strategy.
Oh anyways. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Not snaking. You don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So then Verlander we don't really like because the 2 doubles, but he's a 6. That's a 6 innings pitcher who's a 15 outer, which is pretty solid. Strasburg I like better than Verlander. Bieber I think is really good. For 4.10 you get a 5. That's a 1 through 15 out. You're talking about a typical 5 1 through 15 out pitcher for only 4.10. That's a very. I get it. We're gonna see that real soon when he has he's even got a reliever that gives up 2 doubles.
Yeah, he's gonna lose his mind when somebody's rolling
back
19.
To back, yeah.
Like, oh my god.
Jake Arrieta, he's whatever. He's shitty, but
for
a 4 starter. Tyler Duffy and Kale, Canale, or Petit are all great. And
Yeah, he's
then
got a good bullpen.
the 3 is pretty good, but not crazy. And then Doolittle is just cheap closer that he could fill the roster up with. So I like his team a lot too. I think it's about a B. I don't think it's beating Matt R's team. I think Matt R's team's going to shut him down. But his lineup's better. So if Matt R's team gives him mistakes, then Robert's team will crush him. So that's why I think it's just a tad below Matt R's team. If I'm giving Matt R a B plus, I feel like Roberts is a solid B.
Right.
I really like the lineup better than I thought I was.
Right. Agreed. And it's just not a team. Like looking at some of the other ones, like in some
Robert's
of the other
team's gonna crush Nick's team, Nick S's team, who's in the same division.
Right. I just won't. And he's in my division too. And no, I don't. I won't look forward to facing this team. Like
No,
I just.
but you should be fine. You got a good pitching staff.
Right. Like hypothetically, I should be shutting this team down, but man, if you have like if Verlander at 6 and even Bieber, like if they're going deep and I'm not rolling above 15s, then this team can shut me down. I know that can happen for everybody hypothetically, but I'm just saying like that's what those guys can do if they're on their game.
All right, so let's just recap then. We got
Sure.
Peter at A minus.
Yep.
What's Matt H? Was that a B?
Yeah, we have Matt H at a B minus.
We have Matt at a B minus, and that's because his batting wasn't that good, or because his pitching was, or because he kind of spent. He needs to distribute his salary a little bit better.
Put all his money on 3 guys, right?
Yeah.
We've got myself at a B plus.
I agree with that.
Nick Albertone at a C plus.
Yep.
We've got Bob at an A minus.
Yep.
We've got Kevin at a B.
Which I think Kevin will end up being a B plus if he changes out Yarborough for anything.
Agreed.
Because I think Kevin's team is a really fun lineup with a lot of on base and power. So,
right, and I'm gonna bump, assuming he's gonna make that change, which he will.
Yeah,
and like
I think he's a B plus. I really think again, you were just talking about Robert's team being scary and obviously Dusty's team being a little scary, but like Kevin's team with the 2 10s, they're strong, followed by Alonso and Suarez and Brantley and then Baez is really, in my opinion, a lot scarier. The 10-10 9-9-9 is very, very scary to play. When they're power 10s, not like AJ's team, which has the 10 that doesn't hit a home run. I mean, you're talking about 9s that homer at 15 and 16. That's very strong.
You have if you're somebody pitching a control 2 starter against that lineup, like good luck, have fun.
Yeah. If his bullpen was a little bit better or his pitching was a little bit better, this would be like a solid A minus. But I think he's gonna be a B plus when we're all said and done.
I put him as a B plus.
What's AJ?
We've got AJ at a B,
okay.
Which I think feels right, and we've got Dom at a B plus.
I think he's a really good team. Dusty's a B.
We have Dusty at a B.
And then Nick.
We have Nick S at a
C. That's the worst team.
Matt R at a plus or B plus, and Robert
at B. Anybody get a B minus?
Matt H got a B minus.
Okay. Yeah, I was the only other person. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I like AJ as a B. I think those are all sound really good to me.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we've got. I mean, again, like Matt, like you said earlier today, like at the end of the day, these are all 5,000 point teams. Like, how much range or variation is there going to be between the best team and the worst team? But I think that I think we are seeing some kind of some nice balance or some consistencies within the lineup or the starting pitching relief kind of dependency in each other to kind of see that I think Peter's team and Bob, your team are probably the favorites coming out of this right now.
Well, and I think if I'm looking at playoffs now, let's look real quick at playoff. We'll do playoff predictions, World Series, and then we'll just end it. So obviously the toughest division is Peter, Matt R, Dom, and Dusty. I think Peter's team is going to be the top dog. I actually think Dom's team is going to be second, followed by Matt R, and then Dusty finishing up. And Peter's team should be like easily, but I think the wild card probably comes out of this fucking division.
Right. Agreed.
I feel like
unless we're all beating each other.
Well, that's the weird thing. It's like you guys are gonna have like a really interesting division record, but you guys should
just like last year.
You guys will beat up on other divisions, I think. So that's gonna be interesting, especially Jeff's division, which has the two C's in it, which I think is Nick and Nick. Robert's team actually is stronger than I thought when he was drafting. I thought the same thing as you thought, Jeff, that it was weird, but I actually like his team better than I thought. But I think your team, Jeff, is going to win just because your division's kind of weaker and you have a pretty good team. So I think you're winning that. The wild card, there's no wild card in this division. God, I hope I win my division, but I actually think Kevin's team will end up beating me somehow, and Kevin will get first place, followed by me. Then I think AJ and then Matt H will Matt H should stick to his strategy, and he finishes in fourth. And so my prediction is it's Peter, Dom, Jeff, and me. So I think Peter will have the best record overall. I think Dom will have probably the second best record overall, and I think Jeff. Actually, you might Jeff. So I bet it goes Peter versus me, and Dom versus Jeff. I think. Let's see here. Jeff's got decent pitching. Dom's just got all batting. I feel like Jeff will end up winning, and then Peter will end up beating me, and it will be Peter in a pitcher's duel against Jeff, and Peter winning. So
I feel good about that.
I just think Peter's team is really good on paper with how strong his bullpen and pitching is.
I think not the actual wild card spot, but I could see Robert beating me out in our division. I don't think it'll be Nick for Nick.
We also didn't think Dom was going to win last year.
I don't know what to predict anymore. I could be completely off, but I think Robert could be the sleeper team here. I don't know how much damage he can do in the playoffs, but he could come out of it. So
I mean, I think Dom could be a real big sleeper team because I think his team's really good. I think Dom or Kevin, Kevin versus Peter is who I had, and then Peter beating Kevin. I think Dom or Kevin could either, if they don't make the playoffs, come in as a wild card team and win it all. Their lineups are just so strong that I think it might carry them. But I like Kevin's team, in my opinion, to take my division. I think Kevin's team could win it all. I just don't know if he can handle Peter's impressive starting lineup. So, and I think Peter's just with a little bit of power, his team will make the playoffs.
Right. Interestingly enough, like I think our prediction.
I could go Kevin. I could see Kevin winning it all. I could just see Kevin. I think his team's going to be really good.
So for last year, Kevin should have beat me in the playoffs. He didn't get good rolls, and then I ended up losing on bad rolls to Dom. But in theory, it should have been Dom and Kevin last year.
I thought Kevin's team would have beat Dom's team.
Right. The same. I think that could see Kevin coming out and winning the whole thing.
Yeah. Which
the whole thing.
We have a new. So Kevin was the Raleigh Fingers last year. He is now the PM Home Wreckers this year. So that's his team name. And then I think one other team name change. AJ. Yeah, the Mason Saunders. AJ's team was the T800s last year. Is now the Mason Saunders.
Gotcha. Okay.
And Matt R, give us your predictions, and then we can wrap this up.
I'm gonna win.
Yeah.
I'm gonna score like 6-7 runs a game.
Woo! If you do, you will win. If you can score 6 runs a game, you'll win. I mean, no joke.
I'm not scoring 6 runs a game.
I think if you scored 5, I think if you scored 4 runs a game, you would win. You would beat everybody.
That's my goal. If I can get to 4, it's just
no one could handle your pitching. If
my guys get their charts that I need to, then I got a shot. But if when I face Cole, I probably have to face Cole because Peter's in my division. If I get lucky and like the week I play him is a different start, that'd be great.
Let me see real quick. You start off the season against Dom, so you'll be facing Dom's starter first. Dom's number 1. Mm-hmm. You'll be going Max Scherzer.
And I'm
Scherzer,
fine with
Samardzija, Pablo Lopez.
Yeah.
You play Dom week or Peter. You play Peter. The last game of the season.
Oh, so just like last year.
Yep.
I'll have to face Cole.
Oh, is that what it ends up being? Yeah. Let's see.
I think so because I think it'd be like either week 4 or 5 is when I would when the number ones are
3,
off.
4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. No, you face them. You face 4, 1, 2. So you face 4, 1, and 2. So you're definitely facing Cole and Flaherty, but you'll also face his Chris Bassett versus your 4.
And our 4s are very similar, so that'll be a good game.
Yeah. But I think his lineup is better than yours, so that's where it's going to be
and that's like same thing. As soon as Cannon
Whoever
throws
rolls the
5
mistake
innings,
pitch.
here comes Kirby Yates.
And the problem with that is when you both have such good pitching, it's really who rolls the one. If you roll the
Right.
one, he wins 3-2. If you roll the one, they win 3. It's all depending. So if dice rolls happen, Peter's team finishes like last in the division, and it's whatever. So anyway, so you think you or Peter? What are you thinking?
I mean, I'm just gonna keep picking myself because
Yes.
I'm wrong. I'm usually wrong anyways. So.
You picked-
You were
you-
one game away
didn't
from
you-
searching the playoffs last.
Didn't you like
Yeah,
Jeff's team
and I
last year, and
finished
he came in second?
Yeah. No, I mean like because I think I picked Peter to win.
Well, he
Or
made
no,
the playoffs.
I'm thinking of my league. That was wrong.
Okay.
I don't remember what I picked in yours last year.
Anyway, so you have Matt R. You're picking yourself in your division in the Babe
why
Ruth
not?
division. We're doing the 1920s now, the rolling 20s.
Okay, and then the other division, I like the one that Jeff's. I like Jeff in his division.
Yes, that's the Roger Hornsby division.
And I think I liked you.
Okay, that's in the Tris Speaker division. Who do you like as the wild card?
You know what? Peter's gonna win the division. I'm gonna be the wild card. I'm gonna
Okay.
beat him in the first round. That's what's gonna happen.
Sweet. And then who would win between me and Jeff? Well, I
It
guess
depends.
I lied. I am
getting
now the
home
Cleveland Tribe and not the
Like-
Cleveland Titans anymore.
Is he gonna have like Rowan like throwing him off in the basement, or are you gonna have Solo barking at you? That's what it's gonna come down
Ooh.
to.
It is,
Yeah, that's
does
what-
Jeff forget his orange dice at home? Like,
Orange dice is coming.
Hey, Jeff, your dice is the same color as the Astros. Just let you know that.
Ooh,
No,
cheater!
So it's probably weighted.
Bang the drum.
hear that? I heard a trash can.
Yeah.
Crazy. Weird.
Your team.
All right. So who do you
Dude,
think wins?
that predates it predates us finding out about them cheating. So whatever.
All right. Who
And
do
that
you,
dice is probably older than they're cheating. So I've had that dice forever.
we're just waiting to
You
find
get
out that you're
definitely
cheating with it.
You're like 3.
All right. So who wins? Who wins between us?
It depends on who has home field.
Okay.
right.
Well, I would think that Jeff would because I think Jeff's gonna have a better record.
Okay,
Because
so
I think
Solo's
his
gonna
division.
be in your ear the whole
Okay.
time.
So Jeff
Yeah.
wins. So it's Jeff against
The-
Matt. It's Jeff against Matt in the World Series, and Matt
I
R
don't
beats
want 3
him.
to 2.
Anyway,
I'm
It's
going
already-
so mad. He went pitching and he risked it and he won it.
All right.
You know,
Like,
you got to take big
I'm
risks.
either gonna go like 4-14, or I'll be like 12-4.
Right.
So-
right.
All right. Well, thank you guys again for being here during this pandemic, and we were able to get together via the internet. This great thing of the internet, where we can still be socially contact without being close to each other. Games should start very soon. I think Robert already wants to play Jeff. He's just trying to figure out times. We will be able to play on Discord if people want to do that. If they're afraid of playing in person or they're feeling sick, you can do it on Discord. Everyone should be able to have their pictures. They can get them off the website. Or get the cards from someone and play. And on the website, you can roll a dice. You can talk through Discord. You can chat through Discord. It's very easy. So, any last thoughts before I close this out?
Best of luck to everyone.
I am inevitable.
Yes. Snapping the fingers. All right. Thank you guys again. This has been Bourbon Over Baseball. Peace.